recap, actually. So, previously on the Chronicles of Ishurla, which is what we're starting to call this series, we actually had a sit-down meeting, and it was pretty good.
We had a meeting for like 15 to 20 minutes trying to figure out just the name of this campaign.
Yeah, we're going to be calling it the Chronicles of Ishurla. So previously, the members of the SRC, which stands for the Shared Responsibility Commission, a sort of a pseudo-adventuring company that's funded by the Cardinal government, the Central Ishurlan government, in order to harbor and train adventurers for the eventuality of various contingents, a sort of shared responsibility between Cardinal and the other city-states of Ishurla. The Frog, Snaps, and
I'm not gonna help you.
You gonna leave him out to dry?
Yes.
All right.
I got you. Hold on.
It's in the Twitter notification.
Yeah, hold on. I have it written down. I can't read my handwriting. Hold on, I wrote it down somewhere. Malmira.
There you go.
We're there.
Yeah. The three contractors for the SRC were
Shared Response Commission.
Shared response. That's what I said.
No, it's not. You said responsibility.
Shared Response Commission.
It's better than Shared Liability Commission.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's for sure.
Well, you said it, and I was like, "Is that what we're called?"
No,
I have to check
it's
this.
the Shared Response Commission, isn't it?
Yes, but that's not what you said.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what?
It doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I just got confused. I'm like, what organization
Look, there's
am I
a
part
reason why they use acronyms, and it's called the SRC because that's what people call it. It's just it's easier to say that and save face. That way you don't be an Allen. The three members, Frog, Snaps, and Malmira, were all chosen to do a covert mission in the city-state of Oudmesh. The mission was loosely detailed. However, they met with a liaison on the Arrow Ferry that goes from Cardinal, the central city, out to Oudmesh, which is one of the farther and more remote places in Ishurla, along across the Hilkarian Plains.
Character sheet.
And the three of you met up with liaison Theodore Winmore, and who sported a neon green pseudo dragon. He gave you the skinny on what's happening. So basically, the three of you were hired to find enough evidence to reopen a murder investigation, actionable evidence. And to reopen a murder investigation. The client is one Lorraine Hobson, who is currently a Oudmesh homicide division officer, and she is hoping to reopen this because the Ilthos Busher case was closed under suspicious circumstances. Supposedly, the homicide review board pushed for it to be closed with support of the general of the division, Nathan Moss, who all pushed to close the Ilthos Butcher case after being cold for 9 months. You guys are told to maintain your various covers. Snaps was attending an adventurers convention. What's a better word? Yeah.
It was a specific person running a.
Yeah.
It's Master Franklin running a swordwork seminar.
Yes, I remember Master Frankfort Franklin.
Oh, right.
Yes, Frankfort Franklin. I have that written down too.
Yeah, running an adventuring and sword play seminar in association with a couple other masters. Then we have Frog, who won supposedly a sweepstakes after winning a bullseye or dart throwing competition.
Yep.
And is
They're
currently
sightseeing.
just kind of sightseeing, cryptid tours and all. And Malmira, who is here to liaison for a caravan in order to secure supplies and lodging for a couple people in a few months, but has chosen to rather go on a bar crawl.
Yes.
Previously, you guys investigated after reviewing the victims and going over the case files. You guys found a breakthrough via one of the victim number 5, Otha Potman, a female dwarf who was a line worker and a poet. You guys found out that she had post-hum after death.
Posthumous.
Posthumously.
I know how to spell it. I just don't know how it's said. Posthumous. It's not a word that comes up very often. Posthumously published works dealing with allusions to the moon and truth and light. You guys went into it and investigated, found out it was published out of Roadhouse Publishings, and you guys were able to find the unedited versions of the poems and the complete original binding where it gave allusions to the Church of the Temple of the Primordial Truth. And that's where you guys left off. And you guys contacted Theodore in order to have a meetup with Lorraine Hobson, the anonymous sponsor. And then 2 hours after that, you're supposed to be meeting up with your handler, Sergeant Hector Oathmaker. So yeah, the three of you, I guess. One thing that I didn't ask last time actually is for you guys to roll your cover. So if you guys could roll your charisma stealth checks now. Albert, I don't believe you rolled with advantage yet. Have you for a stealth one of these cover checks?
Rolled with advantage?
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Have you rolled this? Did you roll the last one with disadvantage? Or?
No.
No,
Okay.
he failed the last one. Though.
Yeah, he failed the last one with a 1. And I'm telling you, you need to roll disadvantage because you did go on a bar crawl. Got
Well, I
very
thought that
drunk.
he decided to do that because he rolled a 1. Yeah, he decided to play into the fact that
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's taken a poor choice.
Yeah.
So he's like, yep. All right.
Okay.
What's the worst thing I can
And
do?
yeah, in that case, roll the cover check. Dawn, you have advantage because you're the one that's like actively maintaining a very like intensive cover. So
yeah, it's a cover. That's not what I'm here for.
yeah. So if everyone could give me that cover check, it's
I got a 15.
nice.
What kind of role is it? It's just flat charisma?
Yeah, it's charisma unless you have something that's very specifically tailored towards something
11.
like this. Nice.
Yeah, not much. I mean, deception could be tailored towards it, but
Deception. Deception is probably better tailored towards it.
Yeah, if you're trained in deception, I'll allow that.
oh yeah, I'm deceptive. Oh, not one. Hell yeah. Not very deceptive.
Does he not
today.
also get advantage?
Wait,
for
no,
doing...
I'm a halfling though, right?
Oh yeah, you're lucky.
Okay, I'll allow it.
All right, cool. It's a 10 plus 7.
Okay. What I will say is that rules as written, there's no crit fails on skill checks. Rules as
Yeah.
written, skill checks can't crit fail.
This is true, but lucky also means that if you roll a 1 in any situation, you can re-roll it.
No, I'm allowing it. But my point is that that's how it normally works. But I did say that I'm running this sort of maintaining cover similar to a death saving throw. So
Why the
Yeah.
heck isn't this chat working?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing.
yeah. So
Well, we weren't even registered as online for you.
yeah. And then also I'm gonna need you guys to roll.
All
No,
right.
I'll ask for this later. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
something I need to bring up yet.
Oh no.
Nah, it's fine. I don't need. I'll ask this when it comes up.
Spooky.
Only one thing is worse than the DM rolling dice and then going, and that is, I need you to roll no.
Yeah, I need
Not
everyone to
yet.
roll it. No, it's fine. It's cool. I got.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Roll a con saving throw.
No, you know what? You know what? That doesn't make any sense. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I guess you wouldn't know about this, huh?
So you guys have left the Rodhouse Publishing, and the three of you are just outside of there. You guys are in Oadmesh. Let's kind of give the audience a bit of a visual on what Oadmesh is. So you guys are in part of the city that is not in the null zone. There is a litany of arcane lights. They're kind of sort of like street lights set up. It's later. It's getting in the. It's not nighttime, but the Oadmesh itself is centered towards the mouth of a waterfall. You guys can hear it gently roaring in the distance, and the sun is going over the cliff of it. So it actually feels like a perpetual twilight here. Anytime after 5, and it's coming up around 5 right now, and the sun is now over the cliff, and the lights have now come on. They emit this like bluish white light coming off these arcane arcane post. You see a cart that's being levitated by magic crystals as well, being pulled by some hitched up horses. And you see like a little clunking T, like Model T looking arcane little thing with like smoke sputtering out the back of it, driving by as well. There's not a lot of activity. A lot of people just coming and going. And you guys are in a textile region of the city. I got it. Yeah, you guys good?
Why are we here?
You guys just finished the roadhouse thing. You guys got to figure out what you guys need to do next, because you guys got an hour before you guys had to meet up with Lorraine.
We only have an hour. It's not a lot of time to do anything.
Yeah, we could just show up early.
Maybe we just get dinner?
We could get dinner.
That works.
I
too.
like food.
All
I like
right.
dinner.
Food sounds good.
I wonder if this is the kind of city where everything closes early, though.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Something tells me it's not.
Sure. Well, wait. The place that we're going is a restaurant, isn't it?
That's the meeting with Oathmaker.
Yeah.
This is with Hobson.
Where's the meeting? Where are we meeting Hobson again?
Probably her office, I think.
I thought we were meeting covertly with her
Yeah.
somewhere.
Then it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
in
you
her
guys are
office.
told to go to Theodore Whitmore's bar. I mean,
Or the White Rose.
Yeah, the White Rose.
Oh, okay. They
Yeah, it's a
probably-
restaurant.
Okay,
Would
yeah.
it be more conspicuous if we went early and got food, or less conspicuous if we just went in
You
and
know,
then went to some weird back room for a meeting?
that's a good point. Well, we don't know where we're meeting with her.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I guess let's just go there and get food then.
But what if our cover is that we're getting dinner with her?
Yeah, it might make it weird. If our cover is to get food and we're there early
Let's just
and
get-
getting food.
Let's get food at like a nearby place then.
And then go and get
Yeah.
more food.
Sounds good.
Let's have a light lunch, dinner. Have a
Dinner?
light dinner. And
You know
then
what?
Have a second light
You know
dinner.
what? I think I see an ice cream shop over there. Let's go get ice cream.
Ice cream sounds great.
That's
We're
not
getting ice cream.
food.
Okay, yeah.
Just killing time for an hour.
What do you mean ice cream's not food?
Ice cream doesn't exist in my world. How dare you assume?
Well, ice cream exists in my world, and they've ported it over.
Yeah. So you guys go to the ice cream stand. Yeah, you guys enter a part of the market. Sort of on the way there. The White Rose Distillery is actually. The White Rose Distillery is situated in a region of the city that's a sort of marketplace / like warehouse district almost, because the Oadmesh deals with a lot of import exports of a lot of materials, and they kind of have like a setup. The people that have been to the city before know this as the Sovian district. Yeah, and you guys set up and you guys get some ice cream in an open air froyo place. It's not.
Excuse me, froyo isn't ice cream.
Well, fine. It has both. All right.
All right, I'll let it pass.
Yeah. What do you?
Do I need to roll for chocolate?
No, you get chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just get chocolate then.
Yes, mint chocolate.
And as we're sitting here, Snap's kind of just gonna like listen in to the world around her. I don't know if anything else is going on.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to just listen to what the peeps are talking about or what the gossip is about around town.
Yeah.
Froyo's the devil's ice cream. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is. I really
Uh,
like froyo though. Like,
The texture's weird.
it's good though.
I strongly disagree.
Especially if you get a Go-Gurt pop and then you freeze the Go-Gurt pop and then you like rip the plastic off. We're getting you sidetracked.
Go-Gurt's not froyo,
It's frozen yogurt. That's what froyo is. That's what it stands
but it's
for.
not froyo.
It's refrigerated yogurt.
You don't freeze your Go-Gurts?
We're not gonna die on this hill. Let's move on.
You're all monsters.
All right, so you guys finish up your froyo expedition. Don, you're welcome to make that roll. Did you roll already for your perception check?
No, but
while
my
you guys
passive
went through
perception is 16.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like if you are actively looking, I think you're allowed to roll.
13 plus 6, I think.
Yeah, so that should be
Yeah,
up
so
to
19.
Damn.
All right, so as you guys are walking through and you're sitting there getting your froyo, and you guys are going over your case together, reviewing the documents and making sure that you guys all review your information before meeting with Lorraine, Snaps is looking around and she sees a symbol on a passerby that she recognizes, and she turns around to get another quick look, and you recognize the same symbol that you saw on inside of that book, Otha's book, that was kind of inscribed in various places. Different takes on it, but in general, it is the same symbol with a sort of like T. That it looks like an ornate T, but like a calligraphy T, and then in 2 smaller letters is some arcane symbols to the right of it, like if it were a company acronym, and then in the back was like a crescent moon with like a light beam coming to one point, like kind of like a if there was a concave glass magnifying light.
Is that the same one that's like the symbol for the church that she's
Yeah,
a part of?
yeah.
Okay.
This would be for the Temple of the Primordial Truth. And you see it on a passerby. The person seems to be carrying a tome and just kind of walking through. Looks like wearing normal clothes, not like a nun or anything like that.
Okay.
And sort of walking by, and you notice that they're walking towards the dock area. And let me know if you want to pursue them.
I'm gonna watch them.
Okay. As you watch, they go into a building, and I guess it's a little bit further away. You'd have to leave these guys temporarily in order to follow and see where they go. But they duck into not alleyway, but like a different side road that's not in the main market where you guys are hanging out.
Are they acting suspicious?
Well, with your passive insight of 14, no. It looks like they're just walking.
My passive insight of 16.
No, that's your perception, not your insight.
Oh, insight.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, now I'm actively trying to decide whether or not they're acting suspicious.
Yeah, you can decide that.
Well, you said they duck in. Do they just casually walk in, or do they like look around and like duck?
No, yeah, they're walking as if they're just going to their house. They're not like ducking in, looking or watching if they're being followed.
It's like is Snaps the only one seeing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're eating our frozen yogurt and reviewing documents.
I'm gonna roll insight to see if they seem nervous.
Okay.
Not very good. It's less than my passive insight.
Sorry, I was looking at something else.
So it's a 12.
With 12 for insight, it's fine. It's not one of those things that you think they're suspicious at all. You think it's just, it's a DM establishing that this church exists outside of your investigation. There's more folks here, you know? There's more people.
Yeah, see, the problem is like,
guys
it
are
sounds like he wants me to follow them.
Look.
You're the one who gave us an hour of free time and nothing to do.
Yeah, and you decided to go get this and try to look for a lead when you guys have a meeting already scheduled.
Well, yeah, we're just waiting for the meeting.
Oh yeah,
We're just getting ice
can
cream.
go to the meeting.
Well, you said there was an hour still.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we were establishing that we were getting ice cream beforehand, and now we're going to the
to
meeting.
support our cover that we're not here for anything suspicious. We're here to just enjoy the food.
Yeah, yes.
Ah,
we're
yes, the regional delicacy.
Yes.
Ice cream.
Fice cream. Is that what it's called? Is this a Fice cream
I
stand?
was about to say fucking ice cream. I was just like, why would I say that?
Yeah.
So the F just
Now that I think
got
about
in
it,
there.
like the arcane rune technology is kind of scarce and rationed because we don't have a continuous supply on the continent. So like, would Odmesh be one of the only places that figured out non-arcane refrigeration?
No.
Okay.
I can say that with certainty because we established that the whole continent was researching it in our game of the Quiet Year, which takes place 150
It wasn't
years before
refrigeration
this.
specifically.
No,
it was combustion
I don't
engine.
think that Odmesh would come up with this technology and then not share it with
They're
anyone.
hoarding
Yeah,
the
you're
ice
right.
cream
Yeah,
technology.
you know what? That's what they hoarded it. No one else could have ice cream.
So maybe it is a regional delicacy. And hello, everyone who's just popped in.
Yeah.
He's a
Anyways,
suspicious like culinary thief who's
Yeah.
there to like steal the recipe.
I'm gonna steal the recipe for ice cream.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, I don't want to follow her.
Okay.
All right, I guess we go to
do
the
you
meeting.
feel that? It's a plot hook just rolling across the street.
Look, we can derail the 7 days to Wednesday, but let's.
We've got places to be, people to meet, things to learn.
Yeah, so we're going to the restaurant now.
Yeah, it's actually a distillery. It's one of those places that have like they serve a menu. They serve like food as part of the thing.
It's like a Gordon Biersch.
Yeah, it's set up like it's a company that actually makes booze. It makes booze, but it serves food with the booze.
Oh, is this one of those places where you gotta buy the toast?
All places are you have to buy the toast.
Oh.
I don't peg any of your characters to have known this. I think Malmira probably would, but
I've experienced it.
yeah, Malmira probably would understand how this works. But a company calling themselves the distillery is probably not doing good if buying toast is the only way to get alcohol. So you guys get to the White Rose Distillery. It's a very industrial building, definitely outside of the way of any normal restaurant. But as you guys get in and close to it, the waft of alcohol just kind of comes out like from before even around the corner. You can smell the aged barrels and the stench of very, very high proof alcohol coming.
What kind of alcohol are we talking? First off,
Man.
And second, are you trying to torture Branson?
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
This was there before. And anyways, it mainly smells hoppy. I guess so it's definitely more of a beer thing.
So they make really high proof beer.
Yeah.
Yes, the smell of bread farts.
That's why they serve toast.
Oh.
Yeah, and once you guys get in, it's sort of like a very vintage looking bar with a lot of industrial accents. There's no like line. This isn't a club. It's just sort of like a distillery restaurant area where you can come in. It's not busy. There's no waitresses or anything. It's just come in, sit down, order something. Yeah. And as you guys get in, you guys do recall that Theodore said that the bartenders are your point of contact, or the people that you should talk to. And once you guys glance around, you guys see there's a stage area. There's a couple of people in different seats. It looks and behind the counter is just those massive hoppers filled with booze and various glasses of alcohol, imported, exported, and it looks like in a lot of wood, repurposed kegs for chairs and shit. And behind the counter, you see a very slender-looking orc woman that's currently making something. She looks like she's chopping up vegetables, and she has a stew going on the side of it as well. And she doesn't look like it's too busy. There's like one or two people sitting at the bar, and about like 2 or 3 more groups sitting at tables.
I'm not good at talking. Somebody else talk to her.
Okay.
Who was the person who contacted us in the first place?
Speak into the microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. I was also looking at my notes. Who is the person who contacted us in the first place?
Theodore?
Theodore?
Is that who you're asking about?
Yeah, because someone
Our original
called
point
us.
though it was just a voice that we didn't recognize asking us to come to the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't give us a name.
They didn't give you a name or anything, no.
Okay.
Yeah, but if we wanted to get in contact with Theodore, we just talk to any of the
I guess,
bartenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll kind of go up to the bartender and just be like, hey, how you doing? How's your day?
Hello, how can I help you today?
Is Theodore in today?
How do you... yes, the 3, yes, 2 small and 1 redhead, yes. I assume you are here for the business.
Yes.
Very good. Tell you what, you two, you 3 sit down for a minute while I let the other parties know you're here, and we'll see whether or not we can get you into the back room without any too untoward attention, huh?
Sounds good.
What would you be having then? She says louder so that most people can hear you.
That stew sounds pretty good.
Okay. She starts like putting on the cover of getting you guys some drinks, and Snaps and Yeah, Snaps. You hear her. You kind of see her do some quick under her breath. She says a little spell, and she does the incantation for what you assume is a message spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while she's bartending you guys. A couple minutes pass. What do you guys order? Really quick snapshot into your personality. Yeah, she gives you a ladle of the stew, just like a very vegetable-y stew.
Yum.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about dinner, so also stew.
Yeah.
Dessert first, dinner afterwards.
Okay. She
sounds good.
She gives you a vodka float with some sort of sherbet ice cream.
What?
We already had ice cream.
I said we already had ice cream,
said
so
dessert.
I said stew because we already had ice cream.
Oh, I thought you were asking her for dessert first, and I'm like, yeah, sure, she can give you an alcoholic dessert.
I mean, that sounds also really good, but we also just had ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Stew as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
stew.
After a few minutes, and she says, "All right. Well, it appears that it appears that we can show you a tour of the back distillery. I know it's after hours, but my friend Grigor here is here to give you a tour of our distillery. You can please follow him." And she gestures in this smaller-looking goblin butler-looking dude wearing kind of like a sommelier outfit with like a decent cut like shirt and all the accoutrement, including like what's the little like tummy thing? Cummerbund. It has a weird name. I always never knew what it was. I'm not a classy boy wearing a cummerbund as well.
It's okay. It's a brandy ditch cummerbund, I think.
Yeah,
it's a very specific piece of attire that not many people wear.
Yes, he has one of those on.
Is he rocking it?
People wear them for like
Nice.
Choir performances a lot, actually.
The only time I've ever seen it worn is my old orchestra director would always wear them to concerts.
Yeah, I feel like it's traditional like orchestra attire at this point because it's kind of fallen out of fashion for normal suits. You only really wear them if you're wearing like an older style one. It definitely dates you. It looks very 30s to 50s fancy suit.
Yeah, he's wearing one of those. Like you imagine he has a coat somewhere and a little bowler hat to go with it, but he's not wearing it right now.
I want to look up if there's a picture of a goblin in a cummerbund somewhere.
And when he talks, you immediately recognize the voice. Who was it that he did he send it to all of you?
I think he said it to Snaps.
Oh, he just sent it to Snaps. Yeah, this is totally the same person. He says, "Well, hello, how can I help? If you could follow me, Madame Messieurs."
Sounds good. I just,
Sounds great.
Hop down. I'm assuming I was on like a bar stool that was a bit larger than for me.
Yep, that's about it.
Thanks so much for the tour. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yes. Well,
sorry to do this after hours. I'm sure you were just about to go home for the night.
The owner was very adamant that you represent peoples that we very much would like to impress. So, you could follow me. And he leads you behind the counter and through a back door to the more distillery area and into an office space. And he says, "The person that you have asked to meet is very secretive about who they can be seen with. Miss Hobson has assured me that you people are good, so no need for any pat downs, which I advise against. But I trust none of you will." Stabby? No?
No stabby.
No stabby.
All right.
Absolutely not.
Good. And he kind of like says, "Well, in that case, I probably don't need this." And he kind of lifts up his little jacket, one of the layers of his clothing. He shows a little pistol thing. He says, "Won't need this then." I see.
We're professionals.
Yes, I expect you to be as such. My name is Gregor, and I am ensure that Mr. Winmore, nothing bad happens to any of his interests. You see. I trust that people of associates of Mr. Winmore are good. This is good. Anyways, this here is the office. I'll be waiting outside. If anything happens, then I'll be just a call away. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As she kind of like moves towards it, Snaps gives like awkward finger guns, like, "Hey, this is weird."
Yeah, he doesn't really react, and he looks at your fingers as if like he was about to flinch from it and twitch and respond. He looks at it, looks down, and he looks back in the eye. "Oh, this is funny, yes."
Yes.
Yes. Wait, lost the
So,
accent.
but we open up the door, presumably.
Yeah. It goes to this little office area. There's a lot of other distillers. Like, I'm assuming that Malmira is a connoisseur of various types of alcohol. Is this assumption correct?
I'm not sure yet, to be honest.
Okay. Well, you recognize a large litany of various different types of alcohols in these gigantic hoppers. Unless, well, hold on, would one of the other two characters be a connoisseur of alcohols? Okay, cool.
No.
We can just roll past it then. Yeah, you guys go into the office. The office space is on the ground floor. It looks like it is only meant for like a single story area. Not a lot of overhead needs to go into these production things, so it's just like one office space with like 2 adjoining doors. But as soon as you get in there, sort of what you assume is a secretary desk, and immediately behind it is sort of like a meeting area, and it's very poorly lit. The entire warehouse floor has already been shut down. There's no lights going on, and sitting at that table, kind of like just nervously looking about, stands up when you guys enter, and you see Lorraine Hobson.
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably Lorraine Hobson. She stands roughly about like 5'4", very diminutive, but very tall for someone of the gnome persuasion. I meant to say 4'4".
Gnomes are normally like
Yeah, they're normally
maybe
like
2 feet.
Yeah, they're normally like 3'4" or like 3 feet. I meant to say 4'4". She's very tall for a gnome. Yeah, and she's sitting there in her civilian clothes, and she stands up when you guys come in, and she says, "Hello, are you the people?" No, actually, I probably shouldn't. The less I know, the better. Mr. Winmore sends me and says that you have questions, so please sit down. I have a couple of documents that I wasn't able to give him in the briefing, and I won't let you guys take it, but as it's pertinent to the investigation. But there's some more. There's some documents that you can have a look at.
Thanks.
But yeah, my name is Lorraine Hobbs.
That's okay.
Okay.
You don't have to tell us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we just had some questions that we weren't able to get answers anywhere, and we figured we may as well check all possible ways of getting answers for them, and just
Yes.
making sure all of our bases are covered there. Out of character, honestly, can't remember what we were meaning to ask.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was
about to say. The same thing.
That was what I was hoping you guys would role play before we got here.
You can tell us that instead of saying you guys have an hour and you're here.
Yep.
Well, let's start off with.
It's been a week since we played.
Yeah.
With why.
As a GM, we can kind of review what type of questions. Yeah, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we're interested in understanding why Miss Hobson would want to would be interested in reopening a case, or specifically the Ilthos butcher case.
Is this out of character or in character?
This is in character. Like I don't want to say
Brandon's
why,
asking this question.
I don't want to say.
So
why
instead
do
of
you
asking
want-
why do you're directly implicating her personality, which is what we're trying to avoid.
Well, why would
Why would anyone?
Yeah, why would anyone want to?
Okay, yeah. Can we get a clean take of that?
Yeah. Why would anyone want a case such as the Ilthos butcher case reopened?
Well, for one, any homicide investigation that is unsolved definitely rubs an investigator the wrong way, especially when one was in charge of the investigation for 2 years before it was closed. Not only that, but unbeknownst to myself, one of them, unbeknownst to myself until very late into the investigation, the agents, Misters, hold on, I have
checks notes.
GM checks name notes because very
GM checks
specific.
notes.
Yeah. Agent Mutoko Hassin and Horace Yistan both were tangential to the investigation, and it wasn't until they were identified year ago that this became personal. I knew the two. They were fine individuals, and the fact that two of our own fell victim to this serial killer and the fact that the Homicide Review Board chose to ignore this and let it go unsolved definitely rubs me and many of my coworkers the wrong way. But you gotta understand, it's politics in this situation. Yes?
When you say tangential, what do you mean? As in...
They weren't in my investigating team investigating the Ilthos butcher. They were in a different department.
So they weren't investigating this?
Yasan did serve in the Homicide Investigation Division for a time. However, Yasan was reassigned elsewhere. Muko Hassin actually was not even in serving active duty, though he did have some relations with other departments. I can have a service record here.
If they weren't directly involved in the investigation, what were they doing?
That's part of the reason why I was so intrigued. Nothing from their service record or from their service in the Oudmesh military points to any reason why they would be investigating this. But the fact is that people that are highly trained, highly skilled, and very wise people fell victim to this serial killer. Makes me think that this Ilthos butcher serves a much bigger threat than the higher-ups seem to be letting on. And not only this, but the Yasan and Hassin's involvement in this investigation were kept under wraps from the general public.
This may seem like an odd question, but did they have any religious affiliations?
Oh, not that I know. Like I said, I served with Yasin for a time, but I have not delved too deep into that actually. So I keep on getting into the Gregor voice. The Gregor voice fucks me up so hard. I didn't know them personally. No, not at all. But I can refer you to their living relatives if that can help. But I doubt that they'd be willing to talk to outsiders. You see, the Oudmesh military is very involved in just the day-to-day life. Yes.
If you can give us those names, we might follow up. We'll have to think about that.
Yeah, it's in their personal files, and these are names that you're gonna have to write down. As I said, these have to be returned to filing before the end of tomorrow. These files here, she points to the ones that she has. Yes, and to go further into it, part of the reason why it was closed initially is, one, the investigation was open for 6 years. Nothing came of it, and over time, the victims were more interspersed, very rare in the last year, with only 2 happening within the whole year before the investigation was closed. So it's why, and with other victims and other divisions with homicide investigation coming up, the justification for it seemed to have been that it was a cold case. After 9 months of it being closed, the review board felt that it was bad for optics, and General Moss himself seemed to be of the opinion that it caused more panic, that there was a serial killer out and about, and having the military openly investigate it.
Is there anyone in specific who would gain from this investigation being closed?
Oh, quite a lot, actually. That's the part of the reason why I was so intrigued by the 3 members on the Homicide Reviewed Board. Taproot, Ultz, and Brighton. The 3 that I told Whitmore about. I assumed he told you about the 3.
Yes, we were familiar with those names.
The 3 had come in to the review board most recently, in the most recent election cycle. Outsiders, completely new to this realm of the military and politician, politics. That's the word I'm looking for. And politics. The 3 are completely untested, and yet all 3 of them decided to vote in opposition, in favor of closing down the investigation, despite the previous review board being completely in support of it.
So suddenly all of them were new, and all of them decided unanimously.
Yes, the 3 of them specifically are the new ones. The others have a tried and true record. The only one who always voted, the only 2 that voted to discontinue, was Karen Mistil and Boris Boca, but those people are like hardline religious and religious constituents. They always vote to close the homicide investigations. I already looked into them. I didn't see anything. I didn't go against what they already voted on before. The 3 ones that are new, though, that's what caused me to at least want to look into it. Yes. Is there any other aspects of this investigation I can help with?
So what sort of evidence in particular would it take to reopen the investigation?
Ooh.
What specifically are we looking for?
It can vary. The more information I have and the more actionable material, whether it implicate a suspect or whether it open up maybe perhaps why it was closed, that would be great.
So just any sort of new evidence for the case or evidence that it was closed suspiciously?
Yes. If we can get it, even just getting it back on the vote to get it reviewed might be nice. In essence, I just want justice done. This is an active serial killer that God knows how many other victims are out there. The 13 that we found were the ones we found. Who knows how many other families are going without their loved ones due to this, and the fact that they're not willing to put forward the effort for politics or for public opinion. It goes against everything that I've been working for in the investigation division.
Did you before the case was closed, did you have any suspects?
Suspects. We went through a few over the years. Not many of them. All of them are cleared, but nothing nothing concrete. You gotta understand that whoever this person is, they know how we identify bodies. They torched majority of it, and whatever wasn't torched was oftentimes intentionally destroyed in some way that we couldn't identify the body. We only know the identities of 5 or so outside of the agents that went missing.
Would anyone would you happen to know if there are any leads that never were fully investigated?
Not really. Like I said, the victims don't really have any through lines between them. For the most part.
Would there perhaps be any personal notes made by anyone in particular that never were officially submitted?
Real fast, Albert and Alan, you guys need to get your mics a little bit closer to you. Can you scoot yours a little bit closer? At least when you're doing that voice, it's really quiet. And Albert, you keep speaking away from your microphone.
Sorry.
You're fine. I've just been kind of watching it. I'm trying to make sure that you guys are able to be heard.
Yeah, would anyone happen to have any personal notes that were never submitted in an official capacity?
In terms of leads, I doubt that. I mean, towards the end, it was just myself and one other, and my partner working on it. But before that, there was a litany of people coming in and out and working on the case. If anyone has any suspicions about someone, they definitely didn't say it to me, and I was the lead of it until at the end of it.
Were the 2 agents investigating anything in particular before their disappearance?
We looked into that, and the government and the military came back saying that if it was, then we weren't given access to know. Maybe the Odmesh government military often does this, especially internal matters. Does it for various reasons, whether it be military secrets, current operatives working in and around various religious groups, or maybe they're just protecting someone's kid. Either way, the Hassan and Yassan, as far as I can tell, Hassan was not even an active military, and Yastin appears to have been looking into a tangential murder, I guess, if that's the best thing to put it as. As far as I can tell, it looks like he was he was looking into maybe perhaps someone's murder. I don't know. The investigation didn't halt, and whatever he was doing was definitely off book in a different department. Well, is that it? If not, then I am willing to meet if anything else turns up and you need more information. However, I do want to say I was very concerned about this, about meeting with you guys, mainly because the more I know, the working with the SRC and being a member of the Odmesh military is definitely not going to be good for public opinion of the Odmesh military. So, and the SRC being outside of that is definitely something that the higher ups would not see kindly to.
You don't know that we're SRC.
I mean, yeah, I suppose that's right. Yes, I don't know. I don't see any insignia.
You haven't seen any badges or anything.
I don't know what's worse. My higher ups catching wind that I'm working with SRC, or that I give classified information to civilians.
That's for you to decide.
I guess we can go over these documents at the very least.
Yeah,
and see.
what else is there?
Either way, I've made my bed. But for now, yes. You look over the documents. It looks like it gives a detailed report. It gives detailed reports into the two. Well, what's his name? Agent Horace Yassin and Muko Hassin. Those two are so similar, and I didn't realize they were similar until after I said them aloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Agent Muko, I'll just use their first names, was identified. Was victim number 9. Only reason why they got him is because of partial fingerprint. Fingerprinting is not a common thing in this world. They don't do it all the time. But if you work for the military in a covert aspect, they would do this to them, which is the only reason why they were able to identify Muko. And Horace was identified because of an arcane prosthetic. Same situation where they wouldn't have this information on normal civilians, but because he's a military operative, they would keep records like this. So the two were identified, but for the most part, same deal. Their remains were torched, and any normal ways to have identified them would have been gone. And the reason why this is kept from the public is because it doesn't bode well for military personnel to have been. For this, it isn't.
If the military can't even protect themselves, how do we trust they can protect us?
So because of that, they were kept out of the light. Not only that, but also it looked like they were, especially Muko. He was working a covert op, at least before he was on leave. He worked in making sure and infiltrating various groups in and around Odmesh. And then Horace, looking through his previous records, what you guys are able to glean from when that's not redacted, it appears he kind of works in and around liaisoning between the government and various economic interests is the best way to put it. Whether that be the families that run the outside companies, whether that be for production firms inside of in and around this region, including liaisoning with manufacturing companies and stuff like that. Yeah. And the jobs immediately before their demise, Muko was on leave, so there's nothing official, but from his track record, it's not, especially Frog can really catch wind of this person was probably more covert. Mm-hmm. The likes of what they had on him is definitely sparse. And Horace, the one that was identified by the prosthetic implant, the one that was more recent, was working on revitalizing and seeking out various investing options in terms of economic stability. Looks like he was just working like a pencil pusher. Yeah. And you guys can jot down the information regarding their whereabouts, their family situation, and their points of contacts for if you guys want to have family information. But it's definitely And she says, once she sees one of you guys jotting down notes, because you guys were interested in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she says, I would very much like to keep their families out of this. I know we got to do what we do, but around Odmesh, the military oftentimes is more than family. And by talking to them, you may very well open a rabbit hole that can't... What's the saying? You may open a box and the Pandoras come out. I don't know. I'm not a religious person.
Yeah. I mean, we also don't really have any sort of grounds to speak with the families of these people.
No, not really. I can't imagine we will.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know in case it happens, if we need to, though. Anything else about the other victims?
Yeah.
If you were in our position, where would you start?
Well, myself, I was looking into figuring out why the 3 new members of the Homicide Review Board decided to vote it down. I was looking into the 3. Sergeant Ymir is definitely someone that I considered approaching, but I was quickly shut down after attempting to get into his office. Sergeant Ymir, by the way, is the orc that served in the PR division of
the one with the 17-piece suit?
No, that's Season.
Oh, the lizard man was the 17-piece suit, sorry.
But Sergeant Ymir works for the PR Corps. I think I told you guys about this, the PR Corps of the military. And he... when I approached Sergeant Ymir's office, I was quickly shown out, and very quickly after that, I was told that it was under review. So that's the first inkling of wind that I got that the investigation was being shut down. And after that, I looked more deeply into Ymir's goings on, and I unfortunately couldn't uncover anything more without letting the higher-ups know that I was investigating further, which I am not allowed to do. That's where I would start.
Were there any connections between the victims?
I've gone over it time and time again. None of the families knew each other. None of the ages or the genders coincide. None of the species coincide in any relatable way. I've been over it so many times that it feels like I'm smashing my head against a brick wall. If we only knew more about the ones that we couldn't identify, perhaps. But from the ones we were able to identify, I can tell you nothing. You asked about religious leanings.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it could be religious? Definitely feels very ritualistic in terms of the burning and the... I mean, we had our suspicions in terms of the bodies being cut apart in a certain way, but none of our religious texts are associated with anything remotely related to this.
I'm concerned it would be best if we didn't say too much.
Yes, you were entirely right. I shouldn't have... I'm forgetting it right now.
But if you were in our position, if that's where you would start, then that's probably where we should start.
Yes, I think that's a way to go. However, the PR core of the Odmesh military is a very secretive group, and
I'm sure we have our ways.
Yeah, I imagine you do. I'm just let it be said that I did not warn you that the Odmesh military is a network of convoluted politicians trying to get one up on their fellow officer. It's a den of snakes, if ever I've seen one.
I'm gonna ask this out of character.
Yeah.
The HRB, is that the kind of thing where they have regular jobs as well as their position on the board, or is it like you're elected to it and that's like your full-time job?
Okay. So it's sort of like a committee.
Right.
They have other jobs within other various regions.
Okay.
So Odmesh runs on a military central government, but they do have a separate non-military governings that deals with like House of Representatives type stuff. So the review board is made up of a composite of both. And they don't actually have decision-making powers aside from influencing the recommendations that do get made in the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's often goes against like public interest. If a general decides to not heed the advice of the board, then they're open to public outrage, essentially.
That hasn't answered the question, though.
Yeah.
Are they appointed or are they elected?
They are elected into the positions
By popular vote or within the military?
Within the private sector, because it's an oversight committee for the military. It's so the military doesn't do their own thing. So the Odmesh non-military government elects the people that go into it. It's sort of like a House of Representatives thing where they just kind of like the governors propose the.
Yeah, I think I understand.
Yeah, but the three of them have important positions within and without the community and such.
Okay, but they have other jobs.
They have other jobs, not necessarily politicians. Like they're not like an elected senator or whatever. They're just important people that represent certain aspects of the community.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think I have any other questions.
I can't think of any either.
All right.
I think it'd just be best if we go our separate ways then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's been good to meet you, and you all seem like you have a handle on this. Although, I didn't know what to expect when I told Theodore to put out some feelers for me. I assumed he would just go with some small fry, but him getting the SRC is not the SRC involved is definitely a stroke that I did not foresee. Odmesh has a very storied history with the SRC, you see. Private sector and the military the public sector and the military don't necessarily get along, and it being biased is one of the major concerns either way. So I look forward to hearing back from you soon. With that, she folds up her documents. I think I'll be going now. Is there no? Okay, yeah. There's no like secret handshake or anything, so I'm just gonna go.
And
Yeah,
we awkwardly go our separate ways.
Yeah,
I
she
assume
leaves first. You guys are sitting there at the table.
Yeah.
I assume you guys took a few notes on your own in terms of whatever. There may be some extra stuff in there, but you guys can review back to that, and we can do a post. We can do a retroactive like investigation check. Yeah. So what's you guys' next course of action? You guys are sitting there at the table, and you guys decide to leave.
What time is it?
Yeah, we have another meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
The whole meeting only took about like 30-40 minutes. It didn't take too long.
Yeah.
So how long do we have until that?
About another hour. More ice cream?
An hour's not enough time to do anything.
You know what it is enough time for? A very brief restroom break.
All right.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because we're about halfway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I will be back and do that.
How's everyone doing? We're trying to figure this out. It like definitely has, like what Professor Kid is saying. It's like it definitely seems like there is some kind of like insider, or someone that is familiar with the military's ways of functioning, and definitely someone pulling the strings that is definitely higher up.
Yeah.
If they were able to coordinate getting all three of the members of the homicide review board.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It definitely kind of feels like it's someone like who knows how it all kind of works.
Yeah. The review board, by the way, is made up of 7 people.
Yeah.
7 people. It's just these 3 newcomers that are like
3 newcomers, but like I mentioned, 2 of the people that were already there always just kind of close it down.
Yeah.
And she mentioned them. Boris Boca and Kaden Mistel. Those 2 are, and you guys look back over your own notes actually. Kaden Mistel is a religious consultant rep for the public sector of the government. Religious consult, essentially just someone that sort of like keeps an eye on all the active religions, and then just kind of like says whether or not they're a threat to the public. And then Boris Boca is a tribal relations official, so sort of like the different sort of like a cultural representative, I guess, from a cultural center, I guess, somewhere. Yeah, and then those are the two that always voted to shut things down.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kind of feels like it's set up in a way that is specifically, like, hard to investigate.
Yeah. Hey, Blastertron, how's it going? Saw you pop in earlier. We were doing our D&D thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely hard. Like, I mean, we have a new promising lead, where someone who it's their profession to investigate stuff, like picking up where they left off is definitely I feel like our like angle of like or rather our point of like action. Seeing as we weren't really able to figure out any like suspects that they hadn't like eliminated from the options of people that are the butcher. We couldn't really figure out any like sizable correlations between the two previous agents who became victims. So it's not like they were also investigating the butcher as far as we know. But someone does have the power or had the power to, you know, either deploy them and choose their assignments, or is high enough to know the information on where they're operating. And, you know, because one of them is definitely covert, so someone definitely like spilled the beans on that, I feel like. So, and given that one of the leads that we're kind of like thinking about is that there's probably some connection to the Church of Primordial Truth, because one of the new members, the 3 new members on the Homicide Review Board.
Yeah, she's a bishop of that.
Yeah, she's a bishop, so she's a pretty influential character. And then one of the other victims was pretty heavily affiliated with that church. So we're trying to like figure that out. So we also have a potential like meeting with like a priest or someone to specifically from the place where the victim like published her poems from. So
yeah, that's like kind of the one overlap we have so far.
Yeah.
We're still talking about D&D?
I mean, yeah, we're just kind of like recapping and like giving our like opinions and like, this is a lot of thinking.
Yeah, and murder. Let me tell you guys that plan on doing murder investigations at home. They do oftentimes, or they derail. They're kind of hard to like find the balance between figuring out which details to give, and you can never really guarantee that the people will pick up on the hints, and it's always hard to run any sort of investigation type story, but it's the part of that challenge is what makes it fun, honestly. Like designing it, like I have like 18 different roads that they haven't touched yet, and I'm like, yeah, there's some like ways to get there that are not direct, and they definitely hit on a few that I'm like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. And I had to improv it up. But since there's so many different paths and so many different networks of relations set up, I'm just like, oh wait, hold on, I already have these notes about how these two relate. Like, I can improv this, and all roads will lead to Rome eventually, I hope.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Also, it's Blastertron's birthday month.
Heck yeah! Nice. Happy early birthday. I think it's early. I think his birthday's coming up.
Probably early. Like July has just started. So it makes sense.
Yeah, because humans are born halfway through the month. That's the only time they can be born.
Like probability wise, like since we're only
think it changes.
Well, no, probability wise, his birthday is probably still coming up.
Yeah, if it is in July, it's more likely than not.
Yeah, I guess. Then I guess his wording would have been, "Hey, my birthday's next week." Yeah, okay, I guess that's right.
Heck yeah, coming up.
It's how within
exciting.
The week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, probability-wise, it is only the 5th, so odds are it's not happened yet.
Yeah, it's like 1/6% chance that it has happened.
Yeah,
1/6%.
Sorry, it's like 1 out of 6 that it like chance that it's happened.
Hey, you're becoming 19.
Awesome! How exciting!
I become 19. Nice.
He become the 19.
I become the number 19.
Embody it.
Fully
cherish it.
That number is you.
Yeah.
I need more caffeine.
I think I do too. I've been like, my brain's not as on its toes as it is.
My brain short circuited for half a second while we were trying to do investigation stuff, and I'm like,
yeah.
What happened?
I'm just trying to like put it all together and like make sure that we don't, or make sure that we ask all the questions that we needed to.
Yeah,
and then,
that's part of investigating.
Well, the biggest thing is like I don't really know. What are you?
Oh.
The biggest problem is like I don't really know what we need to find. Because, like, we want to reopen the investigation, which is why I was asking, like, where would you start if you were in our shoes?
Yeah, no, that was a really good question. And I think if we can figure out, like,
if we can figure out
evidence.
If we can figure out that it was stopped due to corruption, I think that's the easiest way to, like, either that or to find a new lead on the case.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, hey, we have a new lead. We should investigate this, and then there's no real reason for them to say no. I mean, there is,
but that's not our responsibility.
Yeah. The real, and if they say no anyway, it's like, okay, well, they're definitely having.
No, they're very insistent that there's no common thread between the victims. That was like one of our first things that we went for, though.
Yeah, I actually gave them a list, and
we have the list in Discord.
Yeah. But as far as the lead investigator has, there's no through line.
Yeah, like even like the places are all kind of different, so it's like, gotta figure that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where you put the screenshot.
Yeah,
do you know where you put it?
We have some leads, but like there's I think Don did say this, but like there's two things we can do. We can either find out why they closed it, or find like evidence that they have to act on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Swole Mickey is the bad man. And Swole Mickey has figured out how to use fire and technology. We're all fucked. Yeah. But I think definitely investigating the what is he, a major?
Staff sergeant. Staff sergeant Ymir Oltz.
Yeah, we also have the overlap with Bishop Matilda Taproot and the Church of the Primordial Truth.
Yeah.
And like the poet.
And the poet, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they kind of overlap, and that's something I kind of want to do next-ish.
Yeah, because investigating the staff sergeant's definitely going to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
Because that might require some breaking and entering into a military facility.
Yeah, he seems kind of unapproachable is the thing.
Yeah, like he might be approachable, but if we ask, like, depending on what we ask, he might get like suspicious, and then it's like, oh, it's reopened, or people are investigating it, and that might blow our cover. So I don't really know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft lately. Oh, interesting. Nice. I actually revisited Minecraft earlier this week. Like I played for like 2 or 3 days. I finally figured out a scheme for the ziggurat that doesn't make it look awful.
Oh, nice.
So it does require me like stripping off an entire layer and re-adding a new layer, but it works.
Off of the ziggurat?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like I'm having to like strip out a portion of it and replace it with wall rather than like solid polished stone.
Oh.
It's just one of those things where like I like the way it looks more, so I'm willing to put in the time to strip it down. Yeah, so I'm that's what I got going on there. Luckily I found some more diamond to keep me going after the whole fiasco with the raiders that happened that last time where I lost all my diamonds. Yeah. So got that going for me.
Keep your drill going.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alright.
Good to get back into it, or?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So you guys make your way back to the hotel, which I don't remember giving a name, but let's just call it the it was the Oadmesh Highland Inn?
I don't think you ever gave it a name.
I don't think I gave it a name either. But yeah, you guys head back to the inn, and it has a bar on the bottom floor, like on the first floor. It's a sort of a snazzy inn, about 4 or 5 stories tall, and you guys all have rooms there. A lot of like suites and stuff. Definitely more mid-tier than, it's not like your run-of-the-mill Hotel 6.
No toast.
Yeah, and you guys come down to the bar. if you order any drink, essentially the idea. Actually, do you imagine any of your characters being into politics at all? Just overarching.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's why I haven't given you this piece of information.
Frog might.
Yeah, I might. But
Okay.
It depends.
Yeah, I feel like Frog might have heard about this.
Can I use it to blackmail someone?
Probably.
Then
yeah.
Actually,
yeah. Okay.
This is tasty.
Yeah, I probably should have told you about this earlier.
Okay.
But Odmesh passed a lot of alcohol laws about like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, where essentially it's like a prohibition on the serving of alcohol. Definitely threw a lot of monkey wrenches people's direction that have to do with import and export of alcohol. Basically, in Odmesh, you're not allowed to serve alcohol unless you serve food with it, and even then, you're only allowed to have certain proofs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's thus the toast.
Thus the toast.
That's the toast.
Yeah, it's cheaper to buy a piece of toast than it is to buy a full meal. So you buy a toast that's worth like what did I say, 3 gold?
Yeah.
And it's
it was
just
really expensive for toast.
But it gave him unlimited alcohol.
Yeah, and they're not allowed to charge for beer essentially. Yet that comes with the meal. Yeah.
I do, for the record, I do actually have a note on my notepad from last time that says never buy the toast with a star next to it.
Never buy the toast.
I mean, you could also put there buy the toast, but don't buy the alcohol toast. I'm sure they serve non-alcoholic meals. But yeah, you guys make your ways back to the hotel. You guys all put away, stow your gears, and now that I think about it, I don't necessarily know if you guys are rolling around with like all your weapons and shit.
I mean, I have like a pretty well hidden like bandolier of like darts.
Yeah, okay.
They're not very like large silhouettes, so it's pretty easy to conceal.
I mean, how normal is it for someone to walk around with like a sword?
Not common. If you're not wearing an insignia, then definitely it's not illegal. I'll let you know that. It's not illegal to carry a sword. Not common unless you're part of the military.
Snaps would still have her sword simply because she is actively going to a sword play convention.
And that whole is well and true. I'm fine with that.
Or you can walk around with a staff. That's about it.
Alright, staff's not illegal. That's fine. Yeah. So we get back to this. You guys are all assembling into the bar downstairs. You see the bartender again. I can't remember if I described him or not. No. Fuck it. It's not. It's a different bartender. There we go.
Okay,
That solves my problem very well.
Gives me an excuse to describe someone else.
Yeah. And it's just a guy that is formless. And he has no form really. He's not going to be described at all.
It's just a ghost.
It's just a ghost.
It's a Liv.
Yeah, we brought Liv back.
Fine, I'll describe someone. It's a null human. It's a null dude. He's like looking at you. He's tall.
Okay.
He's got that look.
That look of one of his eyes is
No.
falling out. Look or what?
Yeah. He got that Whitaker eye, and he's like looking at you, and he says, "How can I help?"
Are we here for the meeting? Why did we come here?
We're here for the meeting with.
Oh yeah, you guys know Oathmaker. You guys know him by reputation. You guys see him. He's already sitting at the bar.
Oh, okay.
And you
Our
guys
party's already here.
Okay. Well, you guys go on through.
Ushers us along.
Yeah. Anyone ordering toast?
No, I'll pass.
Okay.
Already ate.
Maybe later.
All right. You guys go to sit down, and Oathmaker kind of looks over when the bartender yells, kind of like, "Huh!" because it's so loud. Oathmaker looks around, and he is a not unattractive looking middle-aged dwarf dude. I mean, not dwarf dude, half-orc dude. And he looks over.
You said not unattractive?
Yeah, he's
His middle pack.
Yeah, he's mid-pack.
He's like a solid 7.
He's a solid 7.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, he's a solid 7. Looks like he has like graying hair, stacked like a orc should be in classic D&D worlds.
Excellent.
He's like rippling muscles,
Does
and
he got like the tusk?
Yeah, he does. He has very good tusks. If anyone.
Heck yeah. Does he wear like jewelry on them?
Probably not. No,
Damn it.
he seems. You guys have had varying levels of contact with him, but for the most part, all of you know he's a pretty straight shooter. He's the second in command in the Odmesh department.
SRC.
and the SRC.
The branch.
Can you remind me what we're meeting with him for?
He wants an update. The basic thing is that after a day of investigating, you're to make contact with him just to give him an update. I
thought he was supposed to brief us.
No. Theodore is our briefer.
Yeah, Theodore is supposed to brief.
We got a brief from Theodore.
We don't know jack shit.
I mean, we have leads. We're
We
investigating
do have leads.
things.
We do have leads.
Is he allowed to know whatever we're doing?
He's allowed. He's your handler. He is the one person, the SRC, that you guys need to tell this information to.
All right, cool.
As well, and basically, when working covert ops, essentially you're letting him know, hey, if I go missing, this is what I was doing.
Yeah.
This is where you should look. It's sort of one of the things. It's just a formality, really. Really, this is sort of just an opportunity for you guys to tell him and really the audience kind of what you guys have done so far, and also what you guys plan on doing to him. That's kind of why, yeah. And you see him sitting there, and he kind of gestures away from the bar and says, "I have hold on. Welcome. I assume you guys need any drinks or anything, because I have a little booth over there that has a bit more privacy."
Yeah, let's hit up the booth.
A booth sounds nice.
All right,
Sounds good.
Let's go. And he makes his way over, and he waves to the bartender for him to bring over just a couple of drinks. He's like, "Can I have just 2 drinks?" And he points to his toast that he already has with him. Yeah, and
he has a piece of toast hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the toast, and he goes, 2 drinks.
Yeah, no, he orders 3 more on top of the one he already has.
Kawaii des.
Yeah, kawaii des. And, sure, that's gonna be the Odemesh version of "more, please." Kawaii des.
It's just the name of a drink. It's like a Shirley Temple, but it's called Kawaii des.
It's called the kawaii des.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta be able to say it if you're holding toast in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Kawaii des.
Yeah.
That's a good name for a drink, though.
Yeah.
The
So
kawaii des?
you guys sit down. So as you guys
Pink and like.
motion Vita. No.
Please don't kill Snaps.
Yeah, and then you guys all sit down. You guys get your drinks, and he says, "All right.
No,
Well, it's good to see that all 3 of you are alive and appear to not be missing any body parts."
I'm sorry to derail us and continue on this joke, but the Kawaii des is a tall drink. It's pink with ice and has a mini skirt around it.
It's a pleated mini skirt.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
where's the
like one of those
pleated mini
umbrellas
skirt?
that's been like hollowed out the center, so you just pop
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has two cherries like on toothpicks sticking out of it that somehow have eyelashes.
Yeah, it looks like a monster. It looks like a flump at this point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
A what?
A flump.
It's like an underdark jellyfish.
Yeah.
Oh.
It has like little eyes. Super wise.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw this now.
Super smart. Anyways, I'm glad to see that all 3 of you are alive. Don't seem to be missing any body parts. So that's
Not yet,
good.
anyways.
Better than the last group.
Oh. Well, that's good for us then.
Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, I know you, Frog, I know we've done this before. You two, though, first time on a covert op, so how have they been doing, Frog?
I'm very good at being discreet.
We've been, as far as I can tell, we've been making progress.
Oh,
Our
that's
investigation is,
That's good.
it's got a couple good leads that we're looking to investigate.
All right, that sounds promising. Like I said, the last group that was on a mission in Odemesh didn't really end up very intact.
I love that.
Oh, you look at the flump?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I love him.
The flumps are awesome. They're
friend shaped.
They're friend
They are
shaped.
friend shaped.
They are very friendly, and when you when you like encounter them, they just kind of have a bunch of wise wisdom that they kind of just share with you.
They just want to help you.
They just want to help, and if they get put upside down, they're physically incapable of righting themselves.
They're turtles.
Yeah.
I love them. Okay, real fast. I'm sorry to derail us once again, but I found out recently that snails are actually dying out. Snails are actually in danger, and I'm very sad about it.
Oh no.
Snails, for those of you who are aware, snails make me very sad because how do they live? How do they take care of themselves? They need to be protected. I'm going to start crying talking about snails again.
Except the cone snail. That thing's got a torpedo of death.
My code snail can kill people. It's really cool. And apparently all of their their toxins are really, really good at being distilled into painkillers, that are non-addictive, which is really cool. Save the snails. I love snails.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Roll for flail snail.
Roll for snail.
All right, perfect even. So we got here. We took a look around. Didn't really glean much from our preliminary investigation of the first day, but then the next day we met up with the clients. We got some good information from them, specifically that we're probably going to go and act upon. We want to investigate any ties with the staff sergeant on the homicide review board, and see what he knows, or if he's being like bought, or if the like connection is higher up, or what he.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was given the brief outline of this, so I'm making a few logical leap here. I assume you guys are investigating the homicide review board, and Mr. Whitmore briefed me that you guys were looking into the Ilthos butcher.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm caught up.
We also have a lead. One of the victims, Altha Popman, who's a poet. She is associated with the.
And are you presenting any documents to him and letting him look at it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Just narratively, I kind of want to get that in terms of like you guys are sharing information.
Showing the.
She's associated with the Church of the Primordial Truth. She was writing poetry.
She. Yeah.
I did say she.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the accent. It can be hard to understand sometimes.
No, yeah, no, it's probably.
I don't know what he's saying half the time. I just kind of nod.
She was writing about. She made many poems about her religion, which were never published, and many of which are being held by the church. Has a connection to one of the members on the homicide review board, Bishop Matilda Taproot. So we were going to look into that. As one of our other leads, just because we have a connection there. Seems like a good place.
I think that's a good. The Primordial Truth seems to be pretty straight shooters. They're under review every now and again for on the religious consult, but for the most part, they've always gone away scot-free. The religious consult is none of you are from here. The religious consult is sort of arm of the public government that's sort of just there to make sure that none of the religions are doing things that would be against the law, making sure that they're not a threat to the public safety. Making sure no human sacrifices and stuff like that. As far as I know, they've passed with flying colors, but if they're investigating them, then I don't...
Not necessarily that the church is doing any of these things. It's very possible that a singular fanatic could be involved, or it could be somebody who's against the church and is going after people who are a part of it.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that the Primordial Truth has some dodgy... doesn't really have anything to worry about in terms of military or private or whatever, as far as I can tell. The things that they're up for review most of the time is just whatever research they're getting up to. A couple times they do human experiments, but always with volunteers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of experiments?
Oh, just kind of like investigating what the new branches of divine magic can do, figuring out stuff like that. It's
magic.
Yeah, very strange. For the most part, they seem to be mainly focusing on reaching out to this plane's gods. The Primordial Truth, more than most, have the opinion that this plane has gods that we have not yet known about, and they feel that they have they researching and trying to contact them. Either way, they seem to be an all right bunch. Seem to be going about it, crossing all their I's, crossing all their T's and dotting
Crossing all their I's and dotting all their T's.
Yeah, crossing all their I's and dotting all their T's.
You
know,
some weird
like
alphabets, eh?
That's all the Oldmesh dialect. Let's not get into it.
Can I roll like Arcana to see if I know about any of this magic? Because Fern went to college for magic.
Yeah, sure. I'll allow that.
Do I get advantage because I
No.
went to college for magic?
I'm allowing the roll because of the magic and training.
You don't have to. I can roll the dice whatever the fuck I want. I rolled a 9.
Okay, that's not bad. What's your bonus to Arcana?
I rolled a 9. She went to college for magic. I didn't say she graduated.
Oh, I thought that meant that you took proficiency in arcane. Oh.
No, well, because it wasn't an option given the.
That's right. You were a ranger.
Well, no, I'm not. I started rogue and then I went. Then I spec fighter. It's just part of her backstory that she went to college for magic.
Did you pick up urchin or something?
I'm urchin.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like you could have picked up alkalite if that was the case. But yeah.
Brandon suggested urchin, and I was in a rush.
Urchin's pretty good.
Yeah, you could.
Urchin's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So continue. I sorry you're interrupted.
No, that's fine. That's pretty much those two are the two biggest leads that we really have. And we're looking into.
You said you're also looking into the PR Corps. Did you say?
Yeah, that was the branch of the military that Mayor Ilthos was a part of before being elected to the.
Oh, he still serves both positions.
Oh, that's not a conflict of interest at all.
No, the way that the Oldmesh military works is very convoluted. The military sector felt that the public sector would just shut down and contradict all of their orders if they allowed the review board to be as biased in their eyes. So they do have one or two representatives in each council from each realm of the populace, whether that be military, religious, secular, all walks of life. They try to make sure that all people are representative in these various review boards. And the military is one of them, and the PR department serves as one of those outreaches, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely no conflict of interest.
I am not part of this system. I am merely telling you how it is.
I understand.
All right, yeah. And you'd mentioned something about a poet.
Yes, Alta Popman? Popman?
All right.
Popman.
Yeah.
Popman.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything worried there. I'm just making sure that none of sort of a risk assessment on the SRC's part. Just trying to facilitate whether or not I need to keep a SWAT team on standby for the next 48 hours, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But with that on the table, what do you guys need from me? Any resources, any allocations of funds or anything like that? Anything that I can work on the open end SRC route that can help you with your investigation?
Not that I can think of, unless there's a way you can help us.
I mean, we can investigate the history of. The only name that I have written down for the 3 people on the review board is Sees Most. What's the name of the orc dude? The military.
Umir Oltz.
Umir.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we could look into what he was involved in before he joined the review board.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. And can we look into maybe the people who were also on the board that these 3 replaced?
Oh, that's
a good idea, actually.
Because it's possible that they were replaced because of that.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
I have an intelligence of 10.
All right. I'll get some feelers looking out for those then. I'll send them. I'll send them over to your to the front desk, and they'll be able to send the package directly up to your rooms. Whenever I get it. Okay. He starts writing down a few notes on that. All right. Well, it seems that nothing that you're gonna do is gonna end up with one of you in a body bag. So, unless there's anything else, I think we're good on our end.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we meeting again tomorrow then, or?
Only if you guys need to. I plan on meeting you guys in 2 days' time, if that's fine with you.
All right.
We can meet here unless this place is compromised. I trust that you guys can find a way to message the SRC in some way to let me know if anything changes.
Sure.
Yeah. Good luck with your investigation.
Thanks.
He taps the table and he folds up his notes, and then he gets up.
Okay.
And starts walking out.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna do a quick time jump and montage dealio of like what you guys would like to do, and we can.
Yeah, I think we need to take some time to discuss what we should be doing.
We can be real. We can also be real loosey goosey with time and investigating, because a lot of legwork takes a lot of time, and I don't want to have to do for scene for every single thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and let's talk about what you guys want to do.
So my thought process was I want to look a little bit more into the church, just to see, because we had been told that they have like some dealings with like human experimentation. I want to look into their teachings specifically and see if there's any like old references to anything that might resemble any of the burnings. Maybe one of their prophets was burned from the inside out. I don't know. See if there's any similarities in the way that any of these people are killed. There was one that had like obvious religious symbology, if I recall correctly.
I believe it was someone at the table rolled, and it looked vaguely familiar. The one that was in the last 2 years, the one that was more recent.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just like vaguely like more similar poses to each other. It wasn't so much that there was a obvious religious one. I remember one of you rolled it. I can't remember who.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
But looking into to see if there's any sort of like symbology that's similar. I thought that somebody was like wearing a symbol.
I mean, there was that one person that you saw while we were eating.
No, she was talking about something a bit earlier. I don't think I said any of them had a religious symbol on them.
Okay. I might be mixing it up.
I think that's how you got. No, that's not. No, that's not. Never mind.
I might be confused with somebody else.
Yeah.
But regardless, we have some connection to the church to see if maybe there's that. Additionally, in my time, I'm thinking I'm going to go like to the library and look up shit. I also want to see if there's any recorded like conflicts with the church of like other factions who dislike it or be it religious or like a-religious groups.
Or maybe they like left the church because of a difference in opinion of whatever.
Yeah, just doing like some research in like newspapers with regards to that. See if there's anything like
it may also be worth checking if there are anyone who have like specific grudges against the military, because we thought
within the church.
Just in general, I think like within the church is a good place to start, and within other organizations, because it seems like, or like if there's anyone who's like been in the military, but were like ostracized for some reason, because it seems like there's like a grudge there, because there's those 2 military members who were killed, and we found out that they weren't related to the investigation.
Yeah.
So it seems like the only other reason they'd be targeted is if there's like a specific grudge.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were doing something that we don't know about.
Yeah. With regards to at least my time, I assume that would take several hours, as well as several hours of maintaining the cover.
Yeah, this is also like we can be whatever. Like really, we should spend this opening time to just pool your resources of what you guys think you should do.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about like what I want to try to get done.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe just taking a look around and just kind of not like going in, but just kind of like looking at the outside of like the place where the bishop Bishop Taproot, just kind of like take a look at the church. I'm sure it's like a landmark or something to like look at. It's kind of a touristy thing to do.
Oh yeah, I assume they have like some sort of cathedral.
You're not sure, but you're sure that you could figure that out fairly easy. They're an open religion, so odds are they're not hiding where they're at. So you assume that could be something you can do. is that let me know when you guys do want to actually nail down on something, because we can be loosey goosey about it. I'm just writing down the options so that way I have time, a little bit of time to think about it.
Yeah.
And then we can start going down the list of what you guys think most important, and we can make it the necessary rolls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's probably what I'll be doing, is just like seeing the sites, but specifically just kind of looking around for things. And since we're focusing on the religious one.
I realize that maybe we should be reversing what we're doing, Brandon, because you have higher investigation and I have higher perception.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
But these are options. Do you have anything to bring to the table with regards to the military thing, Albert? Because you'd mentioned investigating if anyone has a grudge against the military.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have great investigation. My intelligence is quite low. Like, I was thinking I could go, like, into the church and, like, try talking to them about stuff.
Mm-hmm. That'd work.
Yeah. And just go in and just, like, talk about, like, what exactly their beliefs are and, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah. So let's start on.
Hold on. If you're going to be going into the church, I think that's some overlap. Do I still also need to go?
I guess not. But
yeah, we can also be kind of loose about time. You guys have a whole day.
You can go into different like locations.
Yeah, they could have different locations. I specifically want to try to ask about Ilthos Potman.
Okay.
Oh.
And like I
don't want to be involved in that conversation.
I kind of want to see if I can't narrow down where those other poems are.
Okay. All right. So who wants to start first? And what part of the investigation you want to get going for? Because I did take notes, and I want to know. I have a lot of thoughts on which ones of what you guys said, and I am willing to share them. But we got to decide what order. Who wants to go first?
We can start with me because mine is pretty non-dangerous. It's just going to the library and investigating.
Yeah. There's also like other loose things. So with the library, you can probably find a lot of like there was one more thing I missed. The first thing Don said before I started writing notes, because you're talking about finding out about the religious tensions in the region. What was before that?
Doing research on like their teachings and their like lore, if you would, like whatever their equivalent of the Bible is. See if there's any sort of thematic similarities to the way that any of these people died, or anything like that. See if there's any teachings or I don't know. Stuff.
Yeah, and you're looking into this at the library. So, is there anything else you want to narrow down in that? That will be included. I just wanted to know roughly what your character is looking out for the most part.
That's pretty much it. Like that, and if there was any like groups of the church that had like decided to leave, any like reason that there might be a grudge against the church or something.
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation check. And even though you said library, I think that this is sort of an overarching investigation that's more like less refined, more all over the place in terms of like we'll start at library, we'll go here and go more into the sort of like PI thing of like it.
I get to reroll that.
You're lucky. Yeah.
How often can you do that?
Every time.
Every time. The first time.
Yeah. Approximately 5% of the time.
Wait, every single time?
Yes. Every single time. That's how lucky works.
I thought it was once per session or something like that.
Nope.
That's nope, that's something else.
No, lucky is really, really good.
Okay. I personally never used it, which is why I'm a bit confused by it.
Halflings, man.
What's your new roll?
I ended up rolling like 10. Like flat. Or rather, it's 8, but I have a +2 to it, so it's 10.
Okay.
Investigations are only a +2.
Yeah, I'm not super smart.
Oh.
Yeah, like I have it. It's like a proficiency, but I'm better at talking to people than I am talking to books.
Okay, so as you're looking around, you find various like pamphlets and stuff like that going around in and around the library and talking to people. Oh, you have 3 lucky points. Okay, you can use it 3 times.
I was no.
It's the race feature.
Yeah, it's not the feat. It's the racial feature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked it up too, and people are talking about it on forums, and they're like, yeah, they're just that lucky. It's really broken.
I mean, it only activates if you roll a 1.
This is true. You can't choose to re-roll anything else. And if you roll a 1, the second roll that you get stands.
Yeah.
Which means that if you have advantage on something, if you roll a 1 for the first one and you choose to activate lucky, the second one is what you have. It negates other things.
I mean, yeah.
At least that's my interpretation.
Yeah. And I mean, if you roll a 2, it's pretty much the same as far as like bad.
Yeah.
But you can't re-roll that, so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was looking at the feat, which is why I was like, that's why I thought it was a limited use, but but with halflings it's a wholly different thing. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Now,
you can stack them. It interacts weirdly.
Yeah, but
really,
it's not as useful. You know what I mean?
You can take a feat where your whole party gets that bonus.
Yeah, there's a racial feat that allows you to spread that luck to others.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
That's dumb.
It's really dumb.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. So as you're investigating, you go in and around the city, casting your lines out to make sure you get a good investigation. Oadmesh is weirdly like it's not your home city. You're not used to the way it goes, way things go here in this town. You put your nose to the grindstone, so to speak. We see a montage of Frog going around talking to people in alleys, and then going to a library, opening a few pamphlets and taking notes, and then also going in and around to like a smoking parlor and asking the bouncer a few questions and passing a few coins. And the end of it, you come away with the knowledge that the Church of the Primordial Truth is relatively new in terms of it's an offshoot of All Faith Church, the Divine Light, which is where they get most of their iconography from, in terms of like the imagery of the truth and the light and kind of being interchangeable, and the moon and such. But the Church of the Primordial Truth is a sort of intellectual arm of the actual practicing faith of the Divine Light, which is sort of an all faith church deal with like all of the old plane gods, like all the classic D&D stuff. Yeah, all the classic gods that our civilization worshipped before coming here, and they still worship those gods in various aspects. But the Primordial Truth, it was initially set up as a research arm in order to look into that stuff. You don't find anything in terms of what they're working on, what they have worked on, and what they're doing now. But from as far as you can tell, they're just sort of more of an intellectual research group into that, and you perceived as much when talking with Oathmaker. And more specifically, their teachings is more along the lines of, if there's a truth out there, we can't be bogged down by what other religions tell us, and that breeds some contention between them. But there's been, as far as you can tell, there's no like active brawling or whatever.
Yeah. There's no like religious gang fights.
Yeah,
in the street.
There's no religious gang fights in the street. But Oadmesh is very open in terms of allowing religions to do what they please. They got the religious consult that working in the public sector of the government. So they're pretty open about that sort of stuff. Anything else that I didn't land on, because you were asking about the religious side of it as well?
I think that's it.
Well, what I had proposed also was iconography within, to see if there was any like, I don't know, history of like a prophet burning.
Yeah.
I don't know. To see if there was any similarities in any of their lore.
With a 10, you don't see anything that jumps out to you. However, we'll say they do take a very open book look at all religions rather than just the old ones. So they kind of like, it's in their name, the Primordial Truth. They're looking into even old myths, because the general consensus is that this plane may have been somewhere that humans were, our culture was before, right? So all these old legends may ring true in this plane, even though we thought they were myths and legends in the old world. And that's kind of what they're researching in. They're kind of looking through the haystack to try to find what may or may not be true about our myths or our legends and our society that are true in this world. So the iconography of someone being burned from the inside out, there may be a legend here or there in terms of like fire and people being burned or something like that, but it's in various different religions, and as far as you can tell, they kind of look at everything with a sort of researcher eye on terms of like what does it mean for this plane. But it gets so bogged down, and most laymen have no idea how to answer your question when you ask them this.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just like, oh my god.
So you're not gonna read through any of their texts?
Yeah, I mean, he can grab a. You do come away with one of their they don't have a holy text. They're a research arm, so they look at all holy texts. But you do come away with one of their like pamphlets that are like, hey, do you want to know about the truth? And this is, do you want to know about the religions of old and what the church doesn't want to answer, stuff like that. Or do you have questions about our reality about the old gods and about the gods of new, things like that? Yeah, they don't really have a founding document, if that makes sense. So there is no holy text that you can really get into aside from reading all the holy texts.
So then they're not a church.
They're a research arm, and they're a temple, and they're considered a religion, but they're not a church in what you perceive as a church.
They're an interest group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then what did the Our Lady believe?
Oh, finding the truth. That's kind of what she was using. She was using the imagery of the moon and stuff.
Yeah, that's just a little misleading, I guess. All right.
I guess I can go next.
Yeah. When you wanted to go into the temple, right?
Yeah.
Okay. While going around, you guys all kind of find out that the temple itself is situated in the market district that you guys were at earlier, the Sovian district, the market transport district. They don't have like a fabulous temple or some sort of like church or whatever. It's actually set up like it's a repurposed professional complex. So kind of like, like those private practicing doctors and dentists have.
So like how some churches will take over like old Walgreens.
Yeah, old Walgreens. like that. But like in this case, they took over like a building complex that had multiple suites. They owned the whole building, and on the outside of it, you see the logo with the crescent moon with the lights coming out of it with the calligraphy T and the two arcane symbols next to it. And you see that kind of emblazoned, not like boldly on the front of it, but like it's there on the building.
Specifically, I'm going to I think we got the name of the bishop that all the Potman.
No, there was no name. I don't think I gave you a name to the bishop itself, to the person, the priest that was the contact.
No, we didn't receive a name.
No,
but, we got I believe we got like a location or like an address.
It was just that it was just someone at the church, this is their. You ask around. This is their only. Only facility,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. They own this one building essentially, and as you get in the sort of like reception area that's kind of at the bottom, it looks like people coming and going. It just looks like a really almost nearly abandoned apartment, like professional complex. They have the receptionist there. That you see like one or two people that are like walking down a hallway way down the way, but there's enough like activity that it's obvious there's people here, but there's no one in the hallways right now. You don't hear any church bells or anything like that. It just feels like an apartment complex. The receptionist takes notice of you approaching, unless you want to do some recon that's not just going in.
No, I'll just go in.
All right. You do. Hold on. Yeah. You do notice that there is definitely one guy in civilian clothes that looks burly. You imagine very quickly this is probably just some form of informal security. Just one dude.
Okay.
Just hanging out in the lobby. Yeah, and you walk up to the receptionist, and he's like, hello, how can I help you? Are you interested in knowing the truth? I haven't seen you about here thereabouts.
I suppose of sorts. You can think of me as a scholar, I guess.
Oh, yes, we are all scholars here. I am fascinated. Yes. Do you have anything that you're seeking. We have numerous documents in terms of old faiths and stuff, and we share this with the outside as much as we can.
Oh yeah, I just have a few questions. If I could talk to a bishop or something like that, that would be great.
Yeah. If you had, all of our bishops are very focused on various topics. If you had a topic, I could point you to in the right direction.
I am a religious person of sorts, so I was just kind of thinking if I could talk to someone to compare notes, so to say, or just like someone who's interested, someone who's specialized in thinking about how we write about new and old faiths in literature. Something like that would be perfect.
That's quite specific. Yes. I do think that one of the bishops is indeed into literature. But I can, for now though, I think that I can identify. I can put you in contact with, follow me actually. And she starts like walking you through, and she says the bishop. I'm trying to look through my notes. I don't know if I actually have a person that's set up for that in this governing thing. Hold on, just yeah. Bishop Bertha Rose might be of interest to you. Just she's a novelist herself, but she's currently doing research in terms of I'm sorry. You asked a very specific question that I wasn't prepared to answer. Yeah. She's a bishop that is currently researching various applications of old religious scripture, and she definitely would have insights into how we portray them nowadays. Her office is right up here. She has her. But how did you hear about the Primordial Truth? You guys are walking through this hallway, and as you're walking by, you kind of like look into other offices, and they have open display. Like they have the weird like glass opening that you kind of see in like schools and stuff like that. See inside. You see like a couple of the rooms have lecture halls looking things. Other ones are set up like experimentation labs. There are other ones that are set up like old temples. Like you see various religious symbols. Like you're a fairly religious. Yeah. Like you're kind of glanced at a few religions. You see runs the gambit here, like old god. You see some strange symbols. You see lecture halls that look like they belong in a college space. It looks like they've repurposed a lot of these rooms to fit whatever need they have, whether it be lecturing, whether it be experimenting, whether it be to hold books and store like old tomes and stuff like that. And she's walking you through the complex, and she says, Bertha Rose is sort of our archivist of sorts, our go-to person for anything a bit outside of others' realm of influence, if I guess, sort of handyman in knowledge, for knowledge, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And you guys start walking through. Any other questions for the receptionist?
No.
Okay. Well, here is Mrs. Rose's office, and she kind of knocks on the door, and she peeks in. She says, yeah, and she kind of like whispers in. She says, we got someone. Actually, she kind of pulls back, and she says, actually, I don't know your name.
Just Malmira is fine.
Oh, okay. She says, we got an interested, and she kind of whispers, we kind of got an interested party here. One Malmira seems to be interested in talking about religious representation in modern literature. And she's like nods and let him in. And you get interesting. You get kind of shoot into the room, and you see Bertha Roseman, who is a, let's say, half orc or half elf. Let's go half elf. I've been using orcs a lot.
Yeah, you've given us a lot of orcs.
Yeah, so let's do a half elf. Yeah, she's a half elf. She's dressed up, and she has a little lab coat on, and she has a lot of books, bookshelves, and she has various writing desks and a lot of loose leaf paper, calligraphy sets, and a weird, and also like a type machine like an old tiny clickety clackety typewriter. Yeah, and she kind of gets up, and it looks like she was writing a couple of notes. And she gets up and she says, "Hello, I am and Bishop Rose." And she puts her hand forward.
Yeah, I shake it.
Yeah, and she gestures to a seat in front of her. "Sit down." Yeah, we don't get many people interested in literature. And most people come in for what's the truth of the universe, and are the old gods real? And that doesn't concern me. No. Yeah, so how can I help?
Yeah, so, I've had a very interesting relationship with I guess the best way to say it is entities of this world. And so I've always had a hard time just contextualizing it and talking about it with other people. So I've always turned to literature, to try to find ways to communicate these kind of things with people who haven't had the same experiences as I have. So that's kind of where I guess research is the best way to say it, although it's kind of more of a hobby for me.
Well, yes, we're all hobbyists in our own right, I suppose. It takes a certain amount of passion and personal sacrifice to do this. Obviously, if it weren't for the church, no one would be doing this work. Federal research grants don't go to those that to this. He kind of gestures vaguely to the room. So you coming to the primordial truth is definitely something that we've advertised. We're looking for those people out there that are in the same position as you. We want to support and look for the truth in all. And for you to be coming forward with this, I think that we can work it out as best as we can. So is there any specific era you're working in? Any religions that you're currently... You mentioned that you have a relationship with things and you don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I have a hard time just coming up with my own words to describe it. So I was just interested if... I think this would pertain mostly to new spirits, I suppose. The things that people are more recently being exposed to. Just in terms of, like, if there's any imagery that people tend to repeat whenever they describe spirits or entities that they're not familiar with.
Ooh, what in terms of the old world, the use of the word spirits has always been intriguing to me. The representation of the fae folk and the spirits of the dead and the spirits of the divine and the avatars of truth, like they variously coincide with each other across numerous cultures. Not only our own, but the cultures that came before our founders that came to this plane go back millennia, and many documents we don't even know about. But the overarching representation of these spirits, these forms that give us power, come in and about. And in the old world, it was very cut and dry. Avatar of Timora, for example, very known, very documented, very, very, very finite. But you look into other cultures and they use words like light and spirit and imps and gremlins and things that we can't define. And I think this coincides exactly with what you're talking about. I have plenty of documentation if you want to look through. I'll have to dig it up, but that can help you.
I'm interested specifically in what people tend to use when they don't really know what they're trying to describe.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like sort of the phenomenon that they tend to associate with being guided by these entities that they don't really know what they are and what kind of actions they tend to take.
Mm-hmm. So you're seeking an answer to why people do what they do?
Yes.
I see. Okay. I suppose we can answer these questions, though. In literature, though, it's we look at what's already been written. So I suppose I could look up a few things. I struggle to understand, who do you represent? Who do you're a researcher yourself, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
My relationship with spirits is very strange. I had a very troubled childhood. Just kind of various misfortunes, and ever since then, it always feels like there's someone kind of guiding me and protecting me and just making sure I just have a better hand in life. ever since just kind of having been dealt kind of a rough one at first. So I don't really have like a defined relationship with them. In many ways, I kind of just describe it as being kind of lucky.
So you were a practitioner of the...
Yes, in a way.
Wonderful. Would you happen to like show me something? These divine manifestations are always different, no matter who you ask.
What's your channel divinity? Or what's your channel divinity again?
I have invoked duplicity.
Oh, he doubles.
Yeah, I guess I can do.
Oh, right, the double, the body double thing.
Yeah.
I guess the best way. I guess that's like the best thing I can do. Yeah, I guess I can show you something, and then I create the illusion of myself.
Yeah, and she takes a step back. She says, "Oh, magnificent!" And she kind of reaches forward to touch one of you. Don't know which one.
Probably the one that just appeared.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, he steps out of himself, right?
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll evens odds, right?
Sure.
Odds is gonna be you because it's gonna be awkward. It was even, so it's not you.
It still kind of steps away uncomfortably.
Yeah, how does invoke duplicity work? Is it an actual real you, or is it the illusion?
It's supposed to be like indistinguishable. I don't think it specifies. Really.
Yeah,
I don't think it's physical, though.
Can they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she can't distinguish the two, but she wants to.
Regardless of how it actually works, we did specify that he reached through a cup as he was trying to grab it.
I did say that before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's incorporeal. Yeah, and she kind of like reaches in and like touches the shoulder, but she goes through and she says, "Remarkable." Do you happen? Oh, of course you wouldn't. You have been struggling with this and not knowing how to answer these questions. Yes, practitioners are very rare in these parts. Most practitioners are scooped up by other faiths. The primordial truth has few in relation to the other faiths. But yeah, I don't know how to answer this phenomenon. However, I do have a lot of knowledge where it concerns literature. I could answer anything you have there, but this is remarkable. I can't. Nothing comes to mind that relates to this. There might be a couple of documentations in terms of trickster gods in the old world, but I don't know if anything comes up.
This is a little difficult for me to talk about, but very early in my life, one of the events that this is like actually completely truthful. One of the events in my life that kind of led to this, my home burned down when I was very young, and that was kind of one of the events that kind of led up to me becoming in contact with these entities. I was wondering if there's anything in literature about people having similar experiences.
In modern times, it's a very common occurrence of ambiguous things, ambiguous, as you call them, spirits. Some people say divine divine avatars, but they come forth, and for the most part, we just see lights and we see whatever we want to see, I suppose. But if you're saying spirits, then I assume you didn't grow up in a religious household?
No.
That does explain quite a bit. A lot of times in our research and what we've seen in this new plane is that the practitioners and divine casters such as yourself see what they want to see, for lack of a better term. They manifest what they perceive the gods to be, and they see it. But for you to be outside of that culture sphere of knowing the previous gods, and you can see what you see, is very rare. I've only heard of 2 people in the primordial truth that have very similar stories. One is someone that's long dead. The other is a contemporary that chooses not to say much. He's mentioned a few things, but that's outside of. I don't know him personally. His name's Bishop Zarlo.
Who is this other person you were mentioning? The person who's been long dead. I just out of curiosity.
Oh, his name's Costa. His name's Costa Malt. His name's Bishop. He wasn't a bishop. He was just Brother Costa Malt. He was part of our founding about 150 years, about 70 years ago. But he's been long dead, but he did write various research things about the spirits of the New World. He had various theories about how the gods manifest in this manifest to us and what the divine spectrum is, if so to speak.
Do you happen to have any materials that I could read?
I mean, sure. I can probably get you a copy or two of his reports and his papers. Yeah. I will need to go into deep archive though. So
yes,
if you don't mind waiting, actually.
Yes. Well, while you're there, there's also one other thing that I've been meaning to ask about. What's the best way to ask this? In the past, I found the writing of Otha Potman to really resonate with a lot of the experiences that I've had. And I've done some research on my own, and kind of it led me to believe that she was a member of this church, of this organization. And so I was wondering if perhaps you had any... I'm not saying that you do, but maybe if you had any of her work as well that never saw the light of day that I could also reference, that would be great.
I'm assuming by adding this leading question, you're trying to get an insight on her, so I'll let you roll an active insight check.
I think that's a 14 plus 1 is a 15.
Okay. So as you say, Otha Potman, her eyes ring with her whole posture just kind of tells you that she recognizes the name. And as you're sort of talking more and more, she's like looking and she says, "Yes, Otha was definitely gifted with words. I will say she came in about, and I think that her work was beautiful, but she definitely wasn't a regular. But." Sorry, I kind of phased out a little bit. What else you asked? What was the question?
I was just asking if she had literature that I could read that they have that hasn't seen the light of day.
No, when the publishing of her work came at an awkward time for us. Her family had just finished grieving, and then for her work to be published like that, I assume it was done without the church's involvement. I can't say anything to that. Although she did, from time to time, frequent the archives. She was a seeker of truth, she was. She never bought into all of this, though. She never formally joined the organization, but she did enjoy researching.
And
if you're
in an insight to see if she's being truthful about this? Because this doesn't match up with...
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I mean, she might not be the one who received the literature.
Yeah, that's fair. I also rolled a 15.
Yeah.
15
you think that she's being truthful, but she's not telling you the whole thing. Like she's withholding a bit of information, but she doesn't seem like she's lying at all.
Okay.
She was a seeker of truth. She didn't join our organization, but she frequented our archives quite often.
You happen to know what kind of materials she was researching?
I don't, but the populace is at liberty to look through all of our archives. I don't imagine we don't withhold anything from the public.
If you don't mind, if I take a look while you're looking for the materials that you're looking for, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. I will help you with your work. Although I do ask, why are you looking into Otha? Did she? You said you love her work. Is that part? No, I suppose looking into her work isn't necessarily cause for alarm. You must be a fan, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. As I said before, I think what I read in her work is a similar struggle to what I have in expressing things that she's not entirely familiar with, but is yet experiencing in her day-to-day life. So it just kind of resonated with me. So I'm kind of trying to follow along the same kind of lens that she did, because it seemed to lead her to a greater sense of understanding as well, which I'm trying to seek.
Yes, I see. I can see. Yes, we all seek the truth in our own way. The archives are, for the most part, they're not. We don't document what people look at. However, we do document what people take out of the archives, and we do have a record of that. And for someone also seeking the truth, I don't see why we would stop that. Truth is its own truth in a way, and getting in the way of that is not something they should do.
Okay.
I'll get you those documents right away. I'm just the privacy of our of members of the church is something that I don't necessarily think that we have thought about much.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, I'll get you those documents. I will show you the main archives, and we can and you can take a look at the records from there. She kind of walks you through, and you guys talk here and there, and she asks for more clarifying words on how you describe the spirits and going back and forth about that. And she takes you to the archives, and then she excuses herself to go look into the storage rooms for those specific papers you were wanting. Yeah.
While she does that, I'm going to try to look for the sections that Ultha Potman was taking books out of.
You want to roll an investigation check? It seems like a good use of investigation skill, yeah.
I mean, didn't she give him the list of the books she'd checked out?
I mean, there is like a list of the various books, and then he can go reference the books, which is.
I'm gonna cast Bless on myself to get a D4 added to this roll.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh, no.
Did you roll the D4?
Yes. I got a
Both of
2 and then another 2 on the D4. So with insight of a +4, that's...
Investigation?
Oh, investigation.
Is that even
of
worse?
Of a -1.
Oh.
It's 3.
Okay.
There's some high rollers here, boys.
Yeah, so you're looking through the documentation. A lot of it seems to be in and around various like gods of light and gods of protection, and a lot of alliterations coincides with what you kind of said. Like the texts are like about faith, and you know about religion, so you can get a lot of the same imageries of like the various like harvest gods that have to do with sun, and the moon gods having to deal with like hunting and harvesting seasons and sunlight and the moon coming and going. And there's a lot of text. Like she read a lot.
So what I'm hearing is Albert was wasted.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is a public archive.
Yeah, it's public archive. Like they definitely try to pit. Like you felt like she was trying to pitch to you to somewhat join the collective, but they're not pressuring people into doing it. They consider themselves a public service to like maintain these archives of all religious texts. And where you're at is definitely that. Like you suspect that there might be private collections here and there, but for the most part, everything seems to be up on display. And none of the books that she checked out are giving you any red flags. Okay. But there's like a list of like after going through all of them, it's not like they organize it by the person. Yeah. And like you're looking through it and you see her names here and there, her name like here and there, and you search back the earliest iteration of it. It's like not even in this book. You have to like ask the person to bring out a previous book of like the logs. And so you're just sort of like, you're not too sure when exactly she started looking into this, and you're not even too sure what the last books were, and it's just kind of a lot of information to comb through. And you're just sort of sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing too well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just kind of wait then.
Yeah, she comes back and she actually has a fair amount of books. She says, well, I'm sorry if I came off as a bit weird. I just had some concerns about the privacy of someone, especially someone who is gone from this plane of existence.
No, I understand.
Yes, but here's the documents. So these two tomes are Costa's papers on his theory of general divine manifestation in and around various culture groups. And she kind of hands you the paper. It's sort of like a really, really thin, like shittily bound report, and she hands you 3 of those. There's different papers. One of them's about the manifestations around culture groups. The other one's manifestations in and around through like religious, like one specific type of religion, and then the last one is sort of just a thesis, sort of a thesis statement, and that one doesn't really look like it's pertaining too much aside from just gods be different.
Yeah,
and, that's what it's called, gods be different.
So yeah, I'll just like comb through these and see if there's anything that raises attention.
And she also has like a whole like stack of books, and she says, I think that these books will also provide some insight in talking about these various things. They've manifested in numerous ways, but we got a couple of iterations and anthologies of divine contact in this book, and then she kind of goes through a whole list of other books that she has, like kind of like curated to try to answer your question. And she also stacks that, gives that to you. It's like a whole like 50 pounds of books that you're sitting with, as well as with the papers. And she says, and we'll just have to get a bit of contact info just to make sure that we can, that if you're checking these books out, that we can
and make sure that we get a deposit.
Yeah,
just to make sure.
Oh boy!
And we'll get you set up with the church, the Temple of the Divine Truth library card, archive card. Archive token. Yeah, they use an archive token. Yeah, archive token.
I put in a fake address.
Okay, and the drop of blood for the for the divine leash, for the location binding spell on these tomes.
I'm sorry, what?
It's just something to ensure that we make sure that we know where these books go. I'm just
going to read them and return them to you. I don't need to check them out.
Oh, okay.
I'll just be here a while.
No, that's fine. We have numerous research alcoves that you can go into.
I just comb through it and start reading, I guess.
Yeah, and you kind of walk away, and she's like, "Okay, it's fine. But just let us know if you ever wish to take these books out."
Yeah, if there's anything that I feel like I need to read into more, I'll let you know.
Very well, Mr. Malmira. If there's anything else, there's plenty of research attendants nearby, and feel free to explore the grounds. We have nothing to hide here. The truth is out there, and we will find it.
Sure thing.
That's skeevy as fuck.
Whenever someone says we have nothing to hide here...
Well, it's also really skeevy that they're like, all right, we need your blood so we can track your location.
We need your blood.
Start reading it. Slowly, laboriously.
Okay, we'll jump from that. We see you looking at these massive tomes. I mean, I'm assuming you're starting with the papers, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, if anything in the papers catches my interest.
No, he gave her a fake address, not a fake name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just didn't give her his whole name.
Well, we don't even know if Malmira's real name is Malmira. We don't.
It's just the name he always uses.
Yeah, it's like Frogs.
Yeah.
But is that really Frog's real name?
No.
We don't know.
It's a call sign.
Please enable location on your body. Yeah. We'll jump to Snaps. What is Snaps wanting to do in this time?
We never finished discussing what Snaps was going to do.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Was it gonna like go investigate the Bishop Taproot, or just like look at the
and then we
building?
find out Snaps was there the whole time.
I mean, she definitely would have spent the beginning of the day like holding the cover / going to the seminars that she's actually here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. I imagine that she does that as well.
But as far as the investigation goes, really, it's just waiting on the package from Sergeant Oathmaker. He's the one who he's our contact. So it's really just waiting for the information from him with regards to, I forget what information we asked him for. History on the dude.
Yeah, you wanted to look into Staff Sergeant Ymir.
Yeah, has that arrived by the time she's done with her morning lessons?
I think it hasn't arrived yet. Yeah.
Did we also ask him for information on Sees Most?
I'm okay with saying retroactively that you guys do that.
Yeah, we specifically asked for the military dude, but all of them are important.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Albert?
Keep going. I have a bad idea. I have a bad idea that can wait until you're done.
I don't have any ideas right now. Because my idea was to look through the information, but it's not here yet. Because originally I was going to look into the religious iconography, but technically this information that you guys have received, I'm not privy to. So I can't act on that information yet.
Like I said, we can be real loose and goose about time.
Okay.
I'm assuming, unless I think Malmira's thing might come back to bite us if we don't address it, because he did say he has some shenanigans. Like I saw the glint of shenanigans in Brant
He
Albert's
said he has
eye.
an idea.
Shenanigans.
So can we say by the time that Snap's morning stuff is done, that Frog is also getting done with her researchy stuff?
And
Malmira is probably still occupied.
I mean, what he did wasn't too involved, unless like he's deciding to read through every single book he was given.
Well,
we can jump to Malmira real quick just to ensure that whatever he does doesn't cost us the whole day.
The papers.
Yeah.
Is there anything in there that catches my attention of being possibly like related or similar? The case.
No, not really. Unless roll me a religion check, since I know you're religion-esque. As you're looking through it, it's definitely more along the lines of the way the spirits of Ishurla manifest.
I still have blase.
And the weird cases around. Go. What'd you roll?
14.
14. Yeah, you're looking through it. He does. It's a very dry academic-oriented article, but he does bring up a lot of the iconography in terms of celestial bodies, things that are common among each culture. How that manifests in terms of like, their various traditions and how the spirits respond to it, and how in very weird cases of. In this plane of people who don't have a culture base, often seeing spirits in different ways. Hence, brownies, small people showing up in various cultures and stuff like that, and kind of how that kind of manifests across different cultures.
Did she get me anything relating to like that? You mentioned like the whole like fire thing, and if anyone had similar experiences to like anything relating to traumatic fires.
It wouldn't be in the papers. That would be in the text document she gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is there anything in here that seems like could be related to the case in any way? Like anything that like matches what we're seeing?
Nothing that jumps out at you. Now, there's definitely like I mentioned, like the harvest god and the sun gods are always the same, and like they always end up with like the iconography of the fire and the home hearth and stuff like that.
So
I doubt that has anything to do with this, but it.
My very bad idea. So what was the bishop's name I was talking to again?
Bertha Rose.
My very bad idea was to cast disguised person as Bertha Rose.
Okay.
And I take all these materials and I go back to wherever like the deep archive is. I guess I would have to retroactively say I did see where she walked over to. Is that too much of a stretch?
She was just gathering it from the regular archive.
Well,
it was this. The paper specifically was in the deep storage, like the storage room itself, and they don't put like student papers just right in the regular wing, right? They kind of like have it in its own special section. But the books that she got were all from the open floor as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But like the papers, would I have seen where she got them from?
You know what direction she went, so I'm sure with a bit of snooping around, you can find it.
I have a passive perception of. I didn't actually write it down specifically, but it's 14.
Yeah.
Would that be just enough to be able to find my way around?
Yeah, we'll say that's enough.
Sure.
I'm comfortable with that.
So yeah, I'll cast disguised person as Bertha Rose, and I'm just gonna put the books away at random places because chaos, and then I take the papers and I go towards the deep archives.
Okay, you find a room. It's not a lock and key, but it's like one of the offshoot rooms. The main archive library itself seems to be like on the bottom floor, and like it looks like they renovated to knock out a few doors so that way 2 hallways are connected on either side. The deep archive is set in one of the offshoot offices areas, and it just says on their research documents and historical research documents of the primordial truth researchers. I don't know how else they would say it, but it essentially conveys that.
So
and you look and you go into that room. That's where you assume she came there. But there's also other rooms relating to like various personal works of various researchers.
I'm going to roll perception to make sure that Bertha isn't actively in these rooms.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming you're looking for other people aside from Bertha.
Sure, but mostly Bertha.
Okay.
That is a 24.
Yeah, she's not here.
Okay.
But there is a few people going in and about. No one in the rooms, but people that can see you walk up to the rooms.
Okay.
Like sort of like people sitting and reading a tome like in a hallway further down the way that has access to see the door.
I'm going to first of all look for where these papers actually belong and put them back.
I don't know if you have any library science. I feel like that should be a skill in D&D. I don't.
This is investigation, I guess.
Roll for Dewey Decimal System, Albert.
Intelligence is 9.
Deweys and decimals.
5.
You start looking through this
because he's got a -1.
I that didn't look like a 5 to me. It looked like a 10, which is why I was like, what? How do you have a -6?
Yeah, you don't succeed at rolling for Dewey Decimal System. I'm sorry, Albert. You have no idea where this goes. There's so many papers and so many empty spots on these shelves. You don't know how the fuck they're organized.
Okay. Can I make a separate roll to try to find where they would keep the stuff they wouldn't want people to actively look at, or like the occult stuff that maybe has something to do with burning people,
or cutting them in half,
or anything that might be
I feel
related
like that would
to
be
the
like
case.
Insight.
Can I roll insight for that? That would be great.
Because he's more looking for like locked up texts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Are you okay with insight?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with insight, but the biggest thing is the insight's for like person skills. But
yeah, it's like a retroactive perception.
If I were gonna make a locked up area, where would I put it?
Exactly. That's kind of the question he's asking, and I'm just wondering if, like, without anyone actively there, I guess this would be like an overtime thing. You were spending a lot of time in the library, so yeah, I guess it kind of works out. Let's do it.
So I have a
Jesus Christ. All right, I have a +4 on this at least, so it's a 11.
I have a question.
Hold on real fast. Okay. Insert the SpongeBob meme here. I'm blessed by the gods.
Did you leave like a copy like cloning yourself where you were, or are you just like?
No, I had to use it.
Oh,
when she was asking for that.
Oh, okay.
Curious. With your 11, you don't find any like suspicious whatevers, but you're looking around and like you're looking in and around the research area, and like even just sort of like while you were walking there, and you see the titles of books of like 7 ways to sacrifice a goat. Like it seems like they're pretty open with all their occult shit right on the floor, because it's all faiths, like all religions, they have it publicly open. Like, if there's anything specifically about human sacrifice, they probably do have a book about how a different religion back in the day sacrificed people to the gods. Like, the more occult stuff, you're not too sure if they would have a secret room, and you're looking around the place, you don't even know where they would keep it.
Oh boy, I sure love rolling low on really important skill checks, eh?
So with that, Malmira's like walking
Have you
around.
rolled higher than like a 15?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. At first, like, rolling initial insight checks on the person themselves. So I'm just kind of not sure what else to try.
Well, investigation, and you don't need to do it all in one go, Albert. Like we're welcome to leave the temple and reconvene. Like I said, we can be loose and goose about time. Like you guys can come back together and reconvene, which I'm comfortable with if you guys are, because it's not like you have one go at this. You guys have a whole investigation to do. And if we get bogged down with just go for it, then you're gonna make you might make a mistake, or you might not clue these guys in and do something without your party there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm not finding anything. So I'm going to find a place where I can just kind of sneak off.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Like, it's
Okay.
a bunch of archives, not a lot of people. Like, you
Sure.
ever been inside of a public library and you just kind of go in there?
They're kind of just empty,
Yeah.
except for fuck tons of books.
Yeah, you have no problem finding a secluded place to turn back into yourself. And if you want, you can get out of there.
Yes.
Or if you want to,
Can I retroactively say that since I didn't find a good place for the documents, that I keep them with me, and so I change back to Malmira, and I find Bertha again and hand her those back and just be like, I put the other books away where they should be. And here are these.
Okay. No problem.
Thanks for all the help.
Yeah, no problem. And again, the doors of the primordial truth are always open to those who seek it.
You're not going to make me roll a deception check for putting the books in the right place, are you?
Now that you've mentioned it.
Now that you've mentioned it, feel free, Albert. Let's see if we can get those dirty rolls out of there. Get those bad ones out.
Why did I volunteer to do this?
He rolled a.
Albert, I think your dice are weighted. Do you have spin? Are those spin downs?
No.
I don't know, then.
I don't know what's Albert's problem, but the luck gods have decided that his character that is canonically lucky and blessed by the luck spirits. Yeah, she's like, I think that you're lying about that, but yeah.
I feel like she probably just was. I'm sure you did your best.
If it's not clear, she says what's on her mind often.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be entirely honest. I couldn't find my way around. I just gotta put them places.
No one ever can.
No one ever can.
It's fine. I'm sure we'll find them eventually.
Well, at least she doesn't know you masqueraded as her. All she does is think that you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I tried my best, honest.
Look, you're welcome back into these hallowed grounds. We just ask that you return them, and it's obviously you have. And I really hope that the texts that we had were enlightening to you. I genuinely do. And if it seems to suit your fancy, come see us about practicing. We have bishops that could help you understand more about your powers if you sought to see it.
Oh yes,
seek it out.
Sure thing.
Yes. Well, with that, I wish you a good day, Mr. Malmira.
He's a scholar.
Yeah.
Why are we all so awkward today? Every interaction we've had has just been absurdly awkward.
Yeah. So
I don't know, man.
Malmira
We
leaves.
just don't got the dice luck today.
Yeah.
All right. Some time becomes loosey goosey again. Let's see. What do you guys do? What do you guys talk about?
Well, I tell them that there's an archive and that I'm a very dumb person who can't find his way around a fucking archive.
Well, at least you admit it. Acceptance is the first step to recovery. It's okay.
Yes. I'm gonna recover from being a fucking idiot.
I mean, I did.
You're sure
and now
about
I
that?
can use magic. Ta-da! And a puff of glitter comes out.
So I didn't really figure out much as far as iconic like symbology or things that are kind of like pertinent to our investigation. Unfortunately, tried asking around and I read some stuff. I have a pamphlet. Oh, is this not close enough still? Dang. But
You're just quieter than the rest of us.
Oh, okay. But not much.
Well, I learned how to use sword magic.
Sword magic, huh?
It's magic.
And we jump back to a flashback, and he's like, so, and remember, there are 18 uses for this edge of the sword. Cutting meat, and you're listening down, and lastly, cutting your infant's child's hair. That one I learned by accident. We just jump back to now.
It was a very magical experience.
Okay.
But I think that we should return to the archive. And when I say we, I think me and Frog should return to the archive.
Oh yes, it's probably best I stay as far away from it as possible.
Yeah, from what you said, it sounds like maybe you shouldn't go back.
I could like disguise you as someone who's not an idiot and use a disguise kit.
Maybe that's a little too on the nose. I mean, we're supposed to be covert.
True.
But regardless, from what we understand, there's a lot of religions, and religions really our only lead right now until we get information about the government back. Mm-hmm. So I think that maybe we should start looking into other old religions and maybe their rituals.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And that seems like the best place to do it.
Alrighty.
So we're gonna have to go back to precisely where you just were. You stay here. Maybe don't get the toast this time.
All right.
All right. We're going to roll your cover checks again for today because this is a new day, and it's about midday, so that's about when I want them to trigger.
I can get this as a deception, or
yeah.
All right. I'm here to sightsee.
What roll is this?
Nice.
Is this a charisma roll or? Was it a charisma roll?
Yeah, charisma or deception.
I got
do have
a
proficiency in deception
17.
too. I got a 15.
I haven't rolled yet. Do I get advantage since I haven't done anything that is not my cover?
Yes. You went to your seminars.
I went to my seminar, and that's literally all I've done. 10.
Okay. You're lucky. It's a group check, and I will point out on the first day we got 10, 20 natural 1, and then we have 11, 17, 15, and then today we have 10, 17, 15. A lot of 17s and 15s and 10s. I will point. I was looking over this, and I'm like, that's a lot of coincidences.
We've gotten a lot of the same roll repeatedly.
Yeah, I rolled a 10, but I have a +7 to my deception.
I rolled an 11, and I have a -1.
Oh boy.
Yeah, definitely weird in terms of numbers, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I'll just jump into. Do you want to do this last scene, or do you want to call it here? I'm comfortable doing this last scene.
I'm okay with doing this last scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys go into the Temple of Primordial Truth. It's very intriguing how they repurposed all of this just open office space, and you get into what's you guys' game plan? Just go right in.
We're here to research religions,
All right.
and we heard that they have an open archive to look into religious texts, and it is just something of a passion. We would like to look at the archive, please.
Okay. Well, it looks like I can help you there. We do have the open archives, and we have a directory. I assume you guys need any assistance with finding what you need?
We're just kind of looking for, well, it's a bit of a long story. You can tell them.
So
I don't have charisma. I shouldn't be talking.
I don't know what to tell them. There's just
we're researching. I mean, what we're going in to do is we're going in to research rituals of various faiths. So I'm not sure how much we want to say, or if we have a cover story.
maybe we're just writing a paper.
I'm a college student.
Yeah. We're college students, and we're trying to write a paper on ritual practices of like old faiths.
Oh, well, you have come to the right place. A lot of the public libraries and the other churches always water down the various religious aspects of their historical documents. They don't necessarily have everything. So I'm really, really glad you guys came to us. I am so passionate about so many people coming to the church to seek truth. Yeah, we can definitely help you with that. I have to man the desk, but I can give you an assistant that can help you can help you navigate the archives.
Thanks.
He goes over to one of the little alcoves, touches a spindly looking dude, kind of looks up, kind of adjusts his tie. He looks like he's one of those modern. He looks really like dressed up. He kind of looks like a hipster almost, with like the way he dresses with like a suspender and like a bow tie.
So whatever the vampire dude from Monster Promise.
Exactly. He looks exactly
whatever
like,
his name is.
Yeah, exactly like that vampire dude. And he sort of like stands up from one of those things and he says, "Hello, how can I help?
We're looking for articles on old faith ritual practices.
Old faith. Well, you've come to the right place. The archives here have millennia of old faith. hundreds upon hundreds of old faith and religions that practice across the old plane, and several of the ones that have sprouted up here and around Ishurla.
Primarily, if probably, we have a lot to delve into. But primarily, this is going to sound a little gruesome, and are you okay with a little gruesome?
My dear, religions often aren't without their dark and evil sides.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly why we wanted to see the real truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of almost talking about the brutality of some of the old religions.
We have to give a presentation on it, and if it bleeds,
yes,
it reads.
Yes, the divine, the churches such as the Divine Light often don't keep on record various evil religions that sprouted up to worship the gods of war and such. I can see what I see. The Primordial Truth does have a few of those tomes.
That definitely narrows down the amount of books we have to go through.
Okay.
Yeah, we realize it's a wide subject.
Now that we know where we're going, talk while we walk. He starts walking to the library, and he says, any clarifying criteria that can help you? And I heard the receptionist mention something about burning.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really just any of the more brutal rituals. I guess we're kind of focusing in on that, how religion is meant to be this like great guiding force, but sometimes it's kind of perverted to be bad.
Oh yes, each religion does have its bad eggs, doesn't it? Even the Church of the Primordial Truth isn't immune to such things.
What do you mean? Why are
just a lot of, where there are a congregation of folks, a lot of people perceive any sacrifice necessary for attaining the greater goal, regardless of circumstances.
What do you mean? You guys do sacrifices?
The Church of the Primordial Truth does not condone that. However, that doesn't stop a few people from dabbling. It's neither here nor there. Just the fact that Primordial Truth has been cleared of it, and I mention it only because if you are interested in the macabre, there are other folks in this building that may have whose work may spark some interest. Though they for the most part keep to animal sacrifice.
Yeah, if we could talk to those guys, that'd be kind of cool too.
Yes.
It'd be really interesting. Can you imagine a primary source for our paper? Oh, that'd be so good. We get so many extra points.
Yeah, our teacher said primary sources are better.
Yes, indeed. I can show you that right away. But do you wish to browse the archives while I go up and see if the bishop is currently available?
Yes,
sure,
yes,
works.
please. If you could direct us to a few of the books that you were talking about as well.
I personally only don't dabble in the macabre nature of the aspects that you're researching, but I do recall a certain faith that dabbles more into that. Look up the faith of Yenagu. It should be further down the aisle. It's an old demonic religion that has to do a lot with the Null culture, and I think you'll find it very fascinating in terms of macabre sacrifices.
Sounds good.
There are numerous litany of others, though. Feel free to browse. I'll be a few minutes.
You know where to find us.
Yes, and he walks away. You guys have a bit to talk, and let me know when you want him to come back.
Sweet. So we can talk with this dude. Let's read around, see if anything matches, and if not, that's okay.
All right, then we both want to skim the book that he recommended and see if there's any similarities.
The book he recommended was the Cults of Yenagu. It's an old one that even predates a lot of our founders' culture. Definitely a lot of sacrifices. One thing that does strike you as interesting is that a lot of their sacrifices were in an effort because gnolls only reproduced by getting sacrifices and sacrificing them and using that matter to make more creatures. And that's why a lot of their shit's real brutal. And any of the cultures that are surrounded around that aspect catch your eye as being similarly brutal. None of the Yenagu stuff has to deal with fire, though. And you browsing around, can you guys actually roll? He gives you about like 30 or so minutes before he comes back. But
specifically, we're looking into like cutting the victim in half or something.
Yeah.
Cutting the victim in half. Fire.
Fire might be secondary. It might just be a way of hiding identities.
Yeah.
So
so go ahead and roll me whether a religion or or a raw intelligence investigation check, whichever one's
I'll
more.
take an investigation.
Yeah, Don, are you gonna help or are you gonna give him advantage?
I'm gonna whatever's more useful.
All right.
Advantage.
All right.
Yeah. So snaps.
You get to re-roll that.
Okay. Do I re-roll that and then do I also get the advantage?
Yeah, because the lucky works separately from an advantage.
Well, that's a
19.
natural 19.
Okay, let's roll with that. Reroll that one.
That's a 7. So
okay, so 19
well,
plus.
yeah, 19 plus 2, so 21.
Okay.
Nice. 21.
As you're browsing, like you guys get the suspicion that it's a bit long, but it's not that bad. Like who knows what these bishops need to do. But as you're looking through all of these documents, a lot of the things come up. You open up one book that's kind of along the lines of like an old pyrokinesis cults that comes up. A lot of burning and stuff like that. You go through the documents, but one thing that jumps out at you guys right away is, in addition to like looking into like secondary texts around the Yenagu thing, and tangential to that is actually utilizing sacrifices, quote unquote, as sort of incubation vessels, so to speak, for harvesting various other secondary creatures. Is something that comes up in addition to, it has to do with like a whole vein of botany, like people using it for whatever. But there's actually depictions and drawings. And one of the things that catches you eyes is the sort of bisection that you've seen with all the victims that kind of jumps out at you with the Yenagu depictions, and you're looking at it, and that's out of everything that kind of jumps out at you. And Frog, I think that after looking at the diagrams, you can kind of think that the torching is probably to hide evidence that doesn't look like it's part of the ritual. But you do find that jumps out at you, the bisection aspect of the Yenagu culture. The Yenagu faith and the demon worship dealio.
Check this shit out. This looks pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But also kind of similar.
And I mean, utilizing like parts of the body as like reusing them. Clarify what were you talking about with that again?
So basically, different offshoots of the Yenagu, the Yenagu demon worship lead you down the rabbit hole of unveiling that various other cultures also utilizes the sacrifices, quote unquote, as incubation chambers for the secondary product of whether that be like a specific type of vine, a specific type of like saffron thing for other types of demonic rituals, and the Yenagu thing is an iteration that's far more brutal, that has that aspect of bisection as the end result, and like the disembowelment.
The disembowelment is important because all these things were all of these people had been missing their internal organs, and some of them even had parts missing, like Potman.
Yeah, Potman.
Yeah,
Potman's
lower half.
Yeah. So that might be what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he comes back down and he says, "Well, the bishop has decided to make some time and to assist in your efforts. Yes, the bishop is one Velma Sokosti, and she deals with a lot of blood magic, divine manifestations of various suffering entities. She's a practitioner, and she facilitates a lot of this research." She's an expert on this matter, and she's willing to talk to you. She doesn't get many folk that are actually interested in this, so she is interested to understand more about what you guys wish to be asking. She can meet you now if that's convenient for you.
Yeah, that works for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, great. He kind of gives you directions, and he says, I actually have researched myself. You can, he kind of points you to the stairwell, and he says, just follow that 2 floors up and down the hallway on the left. Yeah.
Sounds good. We'll head up there.
And kind of like gives you about, and he says, may you seek the truth.
Yeah.
And kind of sits down and walks away. You leave you guys to walk up this creaky corridor. It's a weird thing too. Like when you walk in these hallways, it's like the building's shoddily made so that the wood is like it's obviously like a wood in between, like wood between the stairs. So you walk, you can feel everything shift. It's kind of one of those one of those prefab old buildings. I don't know. Just a minor detail that I want to impose because I like to imagine that it's one of those prefab buildings. Anyways, you guys get to the office, and emblazoned on the door is Vilma Sacrost.
Cool.
Yeah.
So before we get in there, what are we asking? Just anything specifically about? Do we mention bisection?
We can mention that we
stumbled across a particularly brutal one that we're kind of interested in.
Or because I mean what we're talking, what our story, okay, we're researching kind of more brutal methods of rituals.
Yeah.
This one is particularly interesting though because they're recycling the parts that they're taking, and I think that might be something just interesting. Talking about the more positive aspects of this brutality, if you would, of this form of ritual and sacrifice, like recycling it for other purposes. I think that might tune us into where we're supposed to go.
That sounds good. Yeah.
All right, you do talk.
Okay, I do the talk. So I guess we go in there.
Yeah, you open the door, and Velma is currently looks like she's sitting at at sort of a lounge chair. She's having a smoke. The room is filled with pipe tobacco, and she kind of like turns around, and she's this leather seat overlooking the outside street right there, and it's situated higher up, so that way her office actually does have an overlook over the valley. It's a decent view, just not one that you'd expect in this shoddy building. And you come in, and she's having a smoke, and she has the window open, and she says, you must be the people that old Jim told me about." His name's not old Jim, it's just Jim.
Okay.
Yes, I am Vilma. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to describe her. She's a very well to do sort of person, wearing a 2-piece suit, like wearing a 3-piece suit. God, how would I always change the numbers, the pieces of these fucking suits?
I don't know why you're so inconsistent with the numbers.
Yeah, she's wearing.
Maybe she's wearing a 12-piece suit.
Yeah,
she's
wearing a waistcoat, and she's very well put together. She has a cane that she has resting against her thing, and she gestures to another. Sadly, there's only one seat. She gestures to the one seat across from her, and there's a coffee table in between the two. And
I assume it's like a rather large chair.
Yeah, you could probably sit next to each other.
It's okay. We're small.
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
We're pretty compactable.
Oh, I forgot to mention she's Goliath. That's an interesting detail. She's big. Yeah, there we go.
So she's very large. So has Goliath-sized chairs.
Yes, and she's like sitting there, and she's like, "Yes, I am very interested in everything. I was told that you two are college students researching various sacrificial traditions of old faiths."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, quite interesting about that. I myself am a practitioner of the divine arts. Unfortunately, my magic often requires sacrifice of blood for the most part. And as such, I've made it my life's work to make sure and research its various applications throughout history and its current applications.
That's interesting. Yeah, we've been focusing primarily on the past sorts of rituals. We didn't realize, I guess, that people still partake in some of them today.
It is a very rare. Manifestation of divine magic for sure, especially in the lights of those of most churches. They often repress such arcane users. I was fortunate enough to be raised outside of any established religion, and I found the church, the primordial truth, quite early in life. and they allowed me, and they fostered the arcane arts, and I've been able to bend it to help others. And that's the legacy I wish to turn the blood sacrifices into, not the hidden ways of old.
Interesting. Yeah, we were looking down at the archive, and we came across a particularly interesting ritual in something of the Yenagu. And we thought it was really interesting that the utility aspect, where they had a secondary use for the sacrificial victims to grow herbs or something.
Yes, quite.
Or use them for incubation.
Yes, quite. The entire concept of utilizing the sacrifices, not only in the utilization of the and fueling the spell, but also long-term rituals that in turn spawn other things or manifest other things by utilizing arcane and nature, is something that's been insurmountable in terms of my research. Hard to do here. Very hard to do. The general way that I've seen blood magic work is exchanging life force for a temporary effect. The Yenagu demonic blood magic is a whole beast unto itself. Quite interestingly enough, we've actually been attempting to try something similar with growing saffron, a type of plant that utilizes blood for the most part in terms of growing, and attempting to use that. It's very intriguing how this variant of this world is very different from how it was in our old plane. Very robust, very powerful, and it seems to almost have a will of its own in how fast it grows and the places it seeks out. Quite fascinating. They're very different from the old cultures. But yes, anything specifically about the Yenagu culture? Just the disembowelment? The spawning?
Do you mean, when you say spawning, do you mean the spawning of new gnolls? Or?
Yes, that's primarily how they operate. However, fortunately in this plane, the gnolls have found other ways of procreating, primarily through... I actually, taking a step as a GM, how do gnolls reproduce in a civilized world? Would it be like a thing where they buy a cow and they do it in a humane way? I feel like that's the way they would do it nowadays.
I feel like with regards to some of the other things that we've talked about with other locations, I feel like it's possible using plant matter, but very specific plant matter.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the gnolls have perfected a way to do that that's more along the lines of us harvesting meat or growing fungal and using plant matter in any biomass that not necessarily demonic anymore. They've figured out the science of it more so than anyone else. Definitely... It's strange. Yeah. Okay. I just realized that I did make a gnoll person, and I didn't think of the repercussions as I said it. I don't know. I don't want to
Remember, we have mush meat. That was something we established in our game.
We do have mush meat. I just didn't think about the repercussions when I did this, and I also put in a gnoll bartender somewhere, and I'm like, how does that work? Oversight on my part. But yeah. Go on. I forgot where we were.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about the saffron and how it's different here?
Ooh, the flora and fauna of Ishurla are vastly different from the old world. The old, herbs, whatever we brought with us, we've been able to cultivate and reutilize. But a lot of the effects are no longer what they were in the old world. Various components like quicksilver no longer applies the exact same way in our magic. And regular arcane magic, and in the divine magic realm, components was never really an issue. But that doesn't mean that certain aspects of our magic hasn't changed. And blood magic specifically has changed as well, and at least from what I can tell from previous documents of practitioners in the old world. Obviously, practitioners of blood magic in the old world was not something seen in a positive light. So the documentation's sparse. But if that we were to go on either iterations of magic from the old world or this one, they're different. And the arcane artifacts and the flora and fauna of this world are also magical in their own way. We just haven't understood how or why. And because of that, there are so many creatures out there that the Temple of Primordial Truth has been looking at and trying to figure out what they do. There are some creatures that are parasitic in their reproduction, very much like the Yanengu, or very much like the gnolls, but nothing is quite as explosive or overtly magical that we've seen, at the very least, since the last arcane surge.
Well, you mentioned your the blood magic working differently. Out of curiosity, just since you are like a practitioner yourself, how does it differ from previous iterations?
And
if you would, well, does it have like different requirements? I don't know a lot about blood magic.
Not many do, dear. Not many do. Unfortunately, I'm the only blood magic practitioner within the Primordial Truth's recollection, at the very least, since before my time. There was perhaps one or two, but the Primordial Truth was only founded about 70 years ago, and I myself am only 32, so there could have been a time before mine that there were practitioners, but the established faiths founded upon it heavily. In the old world, the documentation is very sparse. It seems, for the most part, blood was simply a power source, and there seems to be no difference between here and there.
You mentioned that your blood magic was working differently.
Just minute things, component costs, as well as the effects that certain rituals used to have. Yeah, just mainly in that light. But interesting about this flora and fauna aspect of it, there has been a couple of research arms here at the Primordial Truth that have looked into researching these creatures. For the most part, they got shut down. Obviously, blood magic is still seen in a negative light. And unfortunately, a vast majority of that research gets shut down before we can get it approved. I've have no end of the amount of people that wish to see me in cuffs, even though everything I do here is in search of a greater truth and a greater understanding of how we can use this positively. But yeah, if there's any but don't let me sidetrack this into talking about my crusade against the establishment. Felix, this is about you guys. Your questions about the other previous cultures.
Do you know specifically about like how the saffron here is different?
Saffron was just an example. There are numerous types of creatures. There are some parasitic life forms that just live off of blood. It's a necessity, and they transfer the blood directly into arcane magic or divine magic or powers, just the force that causes change in the world. And that's very similar to how I manifest magic, using primarily my own blood. But from time to time, I keep a vial of cow's blood here on my belt just for occasions where I need a spell.
So interesting. So in theory, it just purely in theory, with regards specifically to the recycling of like ritualistic and stuff. So in theory, you could have a sacrifice that you convert into like an arcane battery. Am I understanding that correctly?
It's mainly the transference of energy to do work. Every magic that we utilize, arcane, divine, primal, they all do work. In terms of the arcane battery, they can be stored in an arcane battery, but the primary consensus is that it just creates a fireball. It creates a psychosomatic, a psychic response in someone to do your will. In this case, blood magic, if you were to convert biomass into energy, is much more efficient than just burning blood. There's so much more that we can do with that. And the Yenegu, for example, understood that, and they utilized most of the body in their process, utilizing not only just the blood, but so much more. And
yeah, it looked like they had a history of disembowelment and using the organs.
That's because the organs are vital to human psychology. Meat is just meat. You can cut off an arm and it doesn't matter where it goes. It's still a bit of biomass. But the intrinsic quality of the internal organs with the human, with the divine magic especially, has interesting ramifications. It's quite understood actually, but intriguing nonetheless.
Are there still people who would do those sorts of rituals today, or how long has this religion been dead for?
The Indigo culture hasn't been around. Well, I wouldn't know. There's certainly some gnolls here and about, but they utilize more humane methods to reproduce. I do imagine that there would have been some incidences early on with rogue gnoll factions, but nothing that I can think of. But in terms of utilizing people that wish to do this now, there have been quite a many proponents that do seek this truth, but unfortunately, the primordial truth leadership would not allow it. It would definitely go against the laws of Odmesh.
Well, yes, of course. I was just curious if people still used it at all.
Oh, yes, there are certain people who try. It's people who have tried and who have failed, who have been excommunicated from the primordial truth for their transgressions.
Did they get kicked out of Udmesh too?
That I do not know. Once they're excommunicated, we've cut off all contact with them. Unfortunate, but a necessary evil for those who wish to surpass the limits of humanity in order to accomplish their goals.
When did all that happen?
It's happened numerous times throughout the history of the primordial truth. Most recently, it happened, say, about 2-3 years ago.
Interesting.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, so it was an unfortunate incident, and that happens from time to time. There are those who are blinded by their ideologies.
Do you mind if we ask what this person did?
Well, it's a very, as I mentioned, there are people that are researching the flora and fauna that are parasitic in nature. It was one of those studies, and unfortunately, the test subjects were the people who were working on it were not careful enough, and it resulted in the death of one of our acolytes that was helping in the research.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was quite gruesome.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, but after that incident, a review was done, and subsequently it was revealed that this incident wasn't accidental. It was manufactured.
Oh.
Yes, and the person in question was excommunicated and promptly dealt with. But that's in our past, and the review board saw that all of it was shut down to make sure that all that. And recently, that's the reason why I've only been able to test on rabbits the last couple of years. And though I do regret it, it's just how things work.
From a meta perspective, do we have any more questions for her?
Not really, because we could probably figure out the name of this person through other means, and I don't really want to pry too much more.
Yeah, I don't want to pry either, and I think we've been given some interesting things. So from a meta perspective, also from the perspective of what time it is, I'd like to close out this conversation.
Yeah.
But also potentially make it clear that we might want to come back and talk more about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And you guys talk, and I'm not going to let us role play all this, but you guys talk and you guys ask more questions, and you guys don't really dig more into the you dig more into like establishing your cover, asking more questions about other religions and stuff like that. And you get a bit of insight into like how it's been done before, but like blood sacrifice and the different types of like gruesome aspects of dark religions. And she's and Velma is more than happy to talk about how these ancient religions practiced and and she's very insistent on like what steps she's taking to like make sure that this public image gets changed and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, she kind of walks you guys out, and she's still kind of like talking to you guys, and she's like, well, if you ever need any questions, feel free to come by. And if you have anything follow-ups, I am very interested to read your work once you're done. And I'm sure the Primordial Truth would love to have a copy of your paper, regardless of what grade you get.
Yeah, we'll ask our professor to send it over when we finish.
Unfortunately, it might be a little difficult because of the way university policies work and things like that. We'll do our best, though.
The Promoted Truth works with numerous colleges across Oadmesh, Military Academy, and Whistleworth's Sentinel Academy, and the likes, as well as the Arcane College Research Center up over at the Estrada Rift. We often can request documents from time to time. Just tell them to send them here.
Yeah, for sure. We'll take care of it. Our project, it's one of those long-reaching ones that goes over the course of the whole semester.
Yes.
So
kind of like a thesis.
Yeah, so it'll be a little while before we're able to get it.
Well,
that being said, we might want to come back and ask more questions. We have a lot of information to mull over right now.
Yes. Well, I do hope you. It is getting quite late in the evening, isn't it? I realize I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm gonna go attend to that. You two, you have a good evening, and our doors are always open to you. May you seek the truth.
Thanks.
Is there a response to that
there-
we're
No.
supposed to know?
No,
Okay.
it's
Okay,
just
cool.
Okay.
yeah.
No finger guns, huh?
It's just sort of like a goodbye.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I was thrown by it too. It just kind of gets in your lexicon, just seeking the truth.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes. Oh, well, goodbye.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah. She closes the door and she kind of like walks away. And you guys make your way back to the hotel.
Mm.
And with that, we're gonna close on this little snapshot of the Ilthos Butcher investigation.
All right.
Hey, we got there eventually.
Yeah.
Good job.
We got there. We got a really pretty solid, like, not a lead on a person, but on like a methodology or reasoning.
I think the idea, even just the thought that whoever has done this may have done it as fuel for something else might be
Yeah.
enough to get it reopened
I think so too.
if it's fuel for further rituals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that presents like a clear and present danger going forward.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good
It
point.
definitely opens up the investigation because we
I
don't
feel
necessarily
like
have to
we
solve
need to find some sort of evidence that is what it's for rather than
Yeah.
like the speculation.
Yeah, it can't just be speculation, but I think that that's hopefully a solid lead.
Yeah, I think that's a good lead.
Maybe we can track down who was doing it 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, and see precisely what it might have been.
Yeah, what they've been doing since then.
Yeah, that too.
That gets them a name.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not sure if that's Alan's satisfied or dissatisfied face.
I'm thinking because I'm willing to peek open the curtain again. You guys got the right answer, but like the work was entirely not what I planned.
I mean, that's DM work.
Yeah, like I'm glad that.